Hey everybody, before today's episode, I wanted to promote our Patreon. If you didn't know, we have a Patreon. The Patreon helps supports the Couch Corp podcast. Sign up and join today and you'll be given special perks. Perks like Discord roles, as well as mini episodes throughout the week. You'll also get exclusive content like bloopers, highlight reels, and much more. And if you get the top tier, you get a free drawing by us in our own art style. And for any tier, you get a shout out on every episode that we produce. So do go and join our Patreon today if you can. It really helps supports the podcast. Now let's get right into the episode. Hey everyone, welcome to another Couch Corp podcast. This is episode 16. We're doing another Hangout episode. This is episode 8. Before we get started, I do want to say go follow us on any social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. We do upload on there somewhat frequently, not like every day, but we do upload every once in a while, whether it be updates or clips, highlights, or animations. We do upload it to social media. Go check it out. It's cool stuff. I think it's cool stuff. So, but that doesn't mean everyone else thinks, oh, I'm just going to shut up. Okay. Go follow us on there. Keep up to date with us. Go join our Discord community. We are active on Discord. More people, the more fun. That's how I always say it. So if you go join, have a good time, and we'll upload on there too. Notifications do go out to Discord first, so if you want to be notified on anything, whether it be giveaways or announcements or whatever we do, go to Discord and follow us on there because they will get the notification first. Also, if you want to, go join our Patreon. You do get perks with each tier. Top tier gets not only Discord perks like the other tiers, but you get a free drawing in our art style. Yay. And we'll send it straight to you, but it's within reason. So if we feel like we don't want to draw it, or it seems something that we feel is not appropriate, we will decline the offer and have you choose something different. So
yeah, basically just like the highest tier, which I forget what it is per month, gets a drawing each month in the style, and basically we just veto it if it's just inappropriate.
Yeah.
Or if it's like really, really complicated. Just because within reason. But like for the most part we most likely won't decline anything unless it's like really out there. So
yeah.
Yep.
So go follow us. If it has a Couch Corp name, it's probably us. So do go follow us on any of those, and yeah. So Tori, how's your week been? How you doing?
It's been alright. I mean, just been, I guess, the transition week, because like started a new job this week and also started like my summer classes. Well, class. So
what job are you able to talk about your job, or do you want to?
It's just a typical part-time summer job.
I get you.
Had that. In part, I legally can't talk about it.
Oh, okay.
It's like a cool job, but it's just like in general, like you're not really supposed to be like, oh, I work for this, blah 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 blah, like, because, yeah.
Wait, what do you mean? Like, it will just get you in trouble, or you just?
Well, legally, it can be considered like when you talk about in general, be like, oh, I work for this company. And if you're just like talking about that, even if you're like trashing other companies in the same industry, it can be counted as just slander. And like if it's known that you're associated with a company that's like its competitor, it can be they like legally could like try to use like my statement against the company and shit like that.
I mean, I'm not saying you gotta trash it. I'm just saying.
No. But I'm saying like in general, like that's how that works.
Yeah.
Like that's why in general they're like, obviously you can tell people like, oh, I work at this store, but like
you just don't want to talk about it.
Respect on like a platform like this. Yeah.
I get you completely.
I'd rather not risk it for the biscuit when I've only been working there a week. I kind of want to keep this job.
Well, at
It's
least
not the best job, but it's a job. All right.
well, is it at least does it have its entertaining moments? That's the real thing. That's what we all want to know.
Again, I've only been working there a couple days, and I don't work there every day. I mean, I can say like what kind of job it is. Like it's retail. Yeah, it's a retail job. You know, and yeah, I've only been there. I've only actively worked there 2 days so far, but I work like 13 hours next week. So I mean, there'll be more time then because I only worked. How many hours did I work this week? 9, which isn't that much. So not a lot happened, but it's also because like out and about, there's not that many people.
Yeah.
Like I'm into stores right now with the pandemic and everything.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because actually a lot of like I have been learning of like, which is like insane in my opinion because like I didn't realize this was a thing until I actually worked. That now I'm like actually working and doing it. That like my store, so I can't talk about that. I can't say this at least. Like we do a ton of like online sales in store. And for reference, like I work for like it's technically like a big company, but like I work at a small store, so it's not like I work at like a
big
like
chain,
a Walmart or a Target or something that's like, well, yeah, duh, you're doing online stuff. Like I work at like a small store in an area that, like you would glance at it and you would be like, oh yeah, they're actively shipping things to customers all the time. Like you wouldn't think about like you know, it's not the first thing you come to mind, but like I think what my manager said was like 60% of our sales is like through that process. And it's because like with the pandemic and everything, like a lot of people, because it's like they still need that type of thing, you know, pandemic or not, they still need that, you know, those types of I wouldn't say valuables, but like sure, just for the convenience, say valuables, you know.
Yeah.
And but a lot of people are still not comfortable with going out, so it's like a lot of times they just reach out to the specific store, and you can go online and even like in the corner be like, oh, what store do you go to? And like you can talk to an actual sales associate at that store, which I didn't realize. Like a lot of times on like shopping websites, and they have the little thing in the corner that's like, oh, what's your local store? If you want, you can talk to someone that knows that store. Yeah, like when that happens, it literally, like, a phone starts ringing at the store, and like literally an active like worker sits down and starts talking with that customer. Like that's all like an actual in-house customer. It's not like someone else paid by the company that just knows the products. It's actually someone from that exact store, which I didn't realize. So I was like, that's cool. Like, so you're legitimately talking to someone that works at that store. Did not realize that. And like when that happens in general, like that's also where we get sales. It's because like when we actively talk to customers and they talk to you like you personally in like your store, then the store gets the credit for the online sale. So yeah, I guess like that's a lot of where our sales are from. But like, so it's interesting because it's like I'm doing all the like typical in-store retail worker stuff as well as like a bunch of like online retail while in store.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, and they pay decent, so it's not bad.
I mean, that's good. You get paid.
Yeah.
That's what matters.
Get paid. Yeah. That is the point.
That's what matters.
To get money.
Get that shmoney.
Yeah, trying to, you know, get money. So, yeah. Thank you. You know,
yeah. The money. It's the money.
You know, like, come on.
It's all about the money.
No, I just kind of want to move out, man.
I just want to leave.
Yeah.
I felt that. I don't
want to be dependent on my family.
I feel that. I get that.
You know.
Oh my gosh, I get it. I feel the pressure of wanting to leave. I get it.
It's been the first solid job I've had in a long time because, like, with the pandemic and everything, I was actively applying for jobs like since last February, and this is the first one I was able to get. And it's just been because like a bunch of locations were in the predicament, and a lot of them still are, where a lot of places are actively looking for workers because they need staff. But at the same time, they can't take on more staff. They either can't afford it, or because of a lot of places still being in partial lockdown, like they can only have so many people in the store, and that includes staff. And when you're training staff, you have to have full staff and the people you're training.
Yeah.
And that cuts back how many people you can have in the store.
Is it bad where you're at? Is it, because I know where we're at, where me and I are at, like, it's literally, it's free game.
Like a lot. Yeah, I know. Free game. Yeah. No.
It's literally like free game. Where, like,
when you say free game, I think of like hunting.
Literally, like, no joke. God. It literally, especially where I'm at, like, I'm pretty sure half the people are like, what the fuck is a pandemic? What has been going on? Like, no. And it's sad, but then again, it's like when you don't see a bunch of people.
No, I've heard that, like, just down there, it's just in general, just like it has been open like most of the time.
Oh yeah, like literally in the beginning, everyone was like, "What the fuck? What is this?" And then whenever someone said something, they're like, "Oh hell, okay, we're not doing that.
Oh hell no,
nah, we're gonna go back to work." Like,
oh hell no, it's funny. Yeah, no, we're getting there. Because I know in general, like a lot, like it's not just like where I live, but just in general, like a lot of the general states in my general geographical vicinity, we're all kind of on the same page, and it's like end of this month and next month we're going to be technically like open again, is how they put it.
Yeah.
So like we're getting there slowly, but like we're just hitting that point, and that's only because like obviously like, you know, people are actually being vaccinated now, and it's being pushed a lot more. So like most of the population is starting to get to that point, so the states and the counties feel more comfortable being like, okay, we can open like a store up all the way instead of having it at like 50 capacity. Like, we feel more comfortable with having that opened up, considering like it's a lot safer in the sense that a lot of people are vaccinated, and even then, like when you're inside, people are still going to be wearing masks anyways. I think. I know the CDC like just came out and said, "Oh, it's fine. You don't need it if everyone there is vaccinated." But it's a big if, you know, like, so like in public, I'm sure it's still going to be a thing that like I assume for a while, because I honestly feel like it's going to stick a while longer than people think it's going to.
Yeah,
because it's like ingrained in people.
Well, I think it's a geographical thing too, because where I'm at, like, it's not for a lot of people, and I completely understand. It's
also a social party thing.
Yeah, well, it's like because people in not even the bigger, I can't even say bigger cities, because Atlanta, like, people really were like, okay, whatever, and they were kind of like, I'm gonna wear a mask, or they were like, I'm gonna wear a mask, but you know, like I gotta go to work. Yeah, but everybody, from what I understood, everybody up north, it was kind of like, yo, if you get out of your house, you're dead, bro. If you get out of your house,
okay, like, it wasn't that bad.
It seemed like it. It really did. Like
it wasn't. It really wasn't. It was just. I mean, it was weird because it's weird because I remember hearing like. More of the panic buying was actually more in like mid-south, not like eastern south, but like mid-south and like
midwestern.
West. Yeah, just in general, like the mid and western side of the country. That's where that happened, where like that panic happened.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely still happened in the northeast, but like not as severe, I want to say.
Yeah.
But I think with the northeast specifically is because the northeastern states in general have a lot of people in small, like, containments.
Yeah.
Which is probably honestly why like the northern states were a lot more strict, because I mean, I know the southeast is still like honestly similar, but they have more rural areas by comparison.
Yeah,
more it's spread out, and like obviously like if there's less people there to begin with, there's less risk for that mass spreading. So I think like that. But like Atlanta's like a huge
thing,
so I don't know.
Yeah, well that was what I was
weird.
confused, because like not confused in like I don't know where, but confused like it was
like
kind of the same
this way and not that way.
Well, it was kind of the same in terms of a lot of other bigger cities, but then again it wasn't, because like I'm not joking, like mid-pandemic there would just be people partying and stuff, and like not because like
that happened everywhere.
Yeah, but it was pretty much like, oh yeah, there's that, yeah, it's whatever, like, and I think the mentality wasn't like, oh yeah, I don't give a fuck about anybody else. Bleh. It was more like, dude, I need to work, so it's either die of starvation or die of COVID, so I'd rather go and work.
That was also a thing here. Like I've like actually remember, like I've encountered people like the entire pandemic that legitimately were like, felt like my mom was, would have been considered in like the population of like severely at risk. But the entire pandemic, she had to like she physically had to go to work every single day.
Yeah,
and that was the thing. A lot of people, they had to, regardless of that. I mean, but like obviously, of course, she took safety precautions when she went to work. But like a lot of people, just they couldn't stay home, and that was fine. Like there's nothing wrong, especially when like their jobs are like, hey, we physically still need you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it happened a lot. It happened to everybody. It was just more so like job side.
Exactly, Tangled. Exactly. Literally, like that was exactly the mindset. It was like, dude, I'm just gonna go to work. It's either I die of this or I die of that. I'm gonna go work either way. But the thing was, it seemed like that was like that a lot, like pretty much across the states. But it wasn't as restrictive in terms of the higher ups when it got towards the south, especially Florida. Florida was kind of like, whatever. We'll just and most of the stuff that you hear,
because it was a warmer state, that it wasn't as bad there.
It wasn't. I don't think it was so much that. It had to do with other things I don't want to get into, because this is not that type of podcast.
No, I understand, but I do remember like specifically like in 2020 maybe. Like
it was mid
when just started going.
Oh, it was like March.
That that was a big thing that was being talked about, was like they thought in general like Texas and like Florida and just warmer states, that they're like, oh, we're fine, and then they realized the virus didn't give a fuck, and then they're like, oh, never mind. COVID's still a thing here.
Yeah, but it was so weird, because they were just like, yeah, we're just gonna keep working, and the only people that really tried to make and I think it should have been like this kind of throughout, is like the stores and the companies needed to have these restrictions, like put on a mask when you come in, and then have a lot of things just open up.
Is that not a thing for you guys?
Yeah, I don't know. It was so weird, but I mean, it's starting to open up.
Like, and I say now, but like, I don't remember specifically when they. Because like honestly, when it first started, it wasn't a thing. But like in the last couple months, stores finally just went, okay, this is how we're going to do business, in which it is like literally, they just put a sign before you enter their business, and they go like, no mask, no service. Like you can't.
Yeah, well, in Florida, it's like it's sort of like a thing where it's like respect. It's like, hey, if you can wear a mask, please wear a mask. I know we're just going to be walking 5 feet, but if you can wear a mask, like wear a mask. When you sit down, you can take it off. We don't care. If you want to sit outside, we'll have extra seating outside. It's whatever. And
it seems like please be courteous.
Yeah, it's just being a courteous, and people respect. Like in the beginning, it wasn't, and we all saw that shit. We were like, "What?"
Yeah.
Like, but now it's like it's a courteous thing. Even like when we're going on this trip, like we're gonna be wearing masks when we go down there. Even though like we just figured out that the park is allowing people to wear masks outside, but when you go into a facility or you're going into a restroom, you have to wear a mask.
Oh, you mean you mean they're allowing people to not wear masks?
Like outside.
Yeah.
If you're anywhere indoors, you have to wear a mask. And if you're on a ride.
That's the universal rule right now.
Yeah. And so, but we're still gonna. I'm gonna wear it throughout the park, just because like I don't.
You don't want to take the risk. Yeah.
I was like this pre-pandemic. I was like, I have a social space, and the space is like, like 10 feet away from me. I'm not a hugger. I'm a fist bumper. I don't mind fist bumping. If like I see somebody I know, I'm like, hey, I'll fist bump, and then I just, I won't touch anything or whatever. Like I'm not a what would you call it, like a germaphobe, but yeah. I'm just like, I don't like people in my personal space type of deal, like, so yeah, I'm fine, but I don't want to like get somebody else sick, or like,
that's my thing in general. Like, even though like I'm fully vaccinated, I don't like taking the risk of like, even though I myself am safe, I sometimes still don't like playing the game of like, okay, because like you can still carry it.
Yeah, you can have it on your hands or on your
yeah, you can still carry the bacteria and like germs and all that shit to other people that could get sick. So like sometimes, like, sometimes I don't like playing that game, and a lot of people are like, you're just kind of overworrying it. And like, yeah, I am someone that worries a lot. And it's true. But like at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I'd rather not. Because like there are still people in my family that, haven't been able to get it yet. So sometimes it's like, you know what? Like if I can, I'm going to be more safe. Because it's better to be safe right now, and then instead of the alternative and accidentally like having someone get really, really ill.
Yeah. Well, I'm like, at the least, like, it's a courteous thing. At least be courteous to other people. If you know that you're going to go somewhere.
If it makes other people feel more comfortable.
Yeah, just do it. What's the point? Like, just.
There's no harm.
Yeah, there's no harm in it. It's not going to hurt you. Like, just. It's equivalent of like opening up a door for somebody who didn't need a door open for them. Just it's fine. Yeah.
Because like everyone does it when it's like the obvious, like, the stereotypical, like someone's that like that has like a walking issue. Everyone opens a door for someone that like physically has, they could have an issue opening a door. But it's just like, okay, you're walking and someone's behind you and you just keep the door open for them.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a common courtesy. It's not required, but it's just kind of like basic human decency at that point.
Yeah, I think a lot of us, like, even I have trouble just like, and it could just be I have a bad day or something. Just being nice to people sometimes. Like, I think we all just need to like just be kinder to people.
Yeah.
We're promoting. Couch Corp is now a promoter of the hashtag Be Kind. So
just basic human decency.
You better be fucking kind.
Well, isn't there that thing that's like, try to do do a good, is it good?
Do one good deed.
Good deed every day, and it's like, doesn't have to be anything astronomical. It could just be like literally just being nice to someone.
Yeah. Or like telling somebody, hey, you look nice, Yeah.
I mean, honestly though, like, a lot of times people don't realize, like, even just, and it's one thing to like, don't force it. Like, it's better if it comes naturally, because it's usually a lot more genuine. It actually means something to the other person. Mm-hmm. That it's like even on like a Discord server, like one of the Discord servers I moderate, because I moderate a few. I see it a ton. Like when it's like, it could be literally like someone's like, oh, I got this outfit today, or like, I did my nails, or it could be literally anything. I drew this, and it's like when someone genuinely goes like, hey, that like you look amazing, or or like that looks really good, like you've improved so much. Like you can tell how much it genuinely means to that person and it actually makes their day.
Yeah.
And it's like, and of course it's like when you are just writing like yo, this looks so cool, you're probably just be like, hey, this looks cool, I want to give this person a compliment. It's sometimes it just acts like that. It's like, because no one, at least in my mind, like, you shouldn't be doing something just to be like, yeah, I'm being a good person right now, look at me. Like, no, like, if you're, because then you're not doing it for the right reason. Because, you shouldn't just trying to be nice just so you can walk around and be like, yeah, I'm a good person, look what I said over here. Like, okay, like, cool. Like, but was it genuine, or were you just trying to come across as something that you're not? I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
I get you. Well, I should probably also say to anybody watching, Gabe is now, he had to dip out. He had a wedding he had to be at, so Mia, yeah, I told him he should have called it. He should call in while he's at the wedding and see what he's doing. Because
not crash a wedding.
He's not. We're not crashing. He's
wedding crashers.
he was invited to a wedding.
I do have a wedding crasher story though.
Wait, do you? Hold on. Can you say it? Can you say it?
Oh, right now? I was gonna let you finish and then I could get into it.
Oh, okay. I'll say this. So Gabe's at a wedding. He might hop in while he's at the wedding or after he leaves. He said he wasn't going to be too long, so I don't know. I don't have any work for the rest of the night, so like I'm free pretty much for a few hours to do whatever. Mia is gonna hop in later too.
Long podcast.
Oh god, we're going on. I feel like Mr. Krabs when we do that. 4 hours. Give it up for 4 hours.
Oh boy.
Nah, but Mia's gonna hop in like in a while. She had to go and do something with the family real quick, so she's going to be doing that. Also, I should also say this before we get into the wedding crasher story. Mia's on another podcast as well with
They are.
Yes, they is.
I did not know that.
Yeah, they were mentioning like, I was on the phone with her before this podcast, so I was talking to her, but they are I forgot who it is. I feel like an asshole for not remembering, but it's fine. I've already, y'all caught me in 4K, so at this point,
we'll plug their other podcast.
We'll plug it in the Discord for y'all to go check it out. It's pretty
because like it could be on Twitch, it could be on a different place.
Yeah.
You can do a podcast on almost like any media nowadays, so it's like it could be literally on anything.
Yeah,
but we'll plug it and have some information. We'll just like slap it on there.
Yeah, it's on YouTube, so it's pre-recorded, put on YouTube. Yeah. It's actually I enjoyed their first episode. It was really nice. I think y'all should go check it out. It is the first episode, so do give them a chance and hold out and see what happens. So yeah. I really enjoyed it. It has the same style as like what we're doing, except it's not live. So yeah, Mia wanted to one day do like a collab, like we do a little joint session with the other and I was like, I'm down. So it's got the same feel, so like why not? It'd be fun. I'm always down. So to do stuff with friends. So
podcast mashup.
I know it's awesome. I enjoy it. And we need to start doing more podception. Wee woo. Nah, like I need to get a soundboard now. I feel like I'm just like my own soundboard, but I need like a little stream deck or something. But
they have programs that do it because like the actual physical stream decks are like $200.
Yeah, it's
they
insane.
have programs that you can just do keybinds and it does the exact same thing.
I have one.
What it's called.
I have one on my phone. So what it does is I connect.
Your phone.
Yeah, so I did. I stopped, but you have to pay like $1.50 or $2 a month or something like that. It used to be way more expensive.
Yeah, no, the one I'm thinking of is
it's like actually on the computer.
Yeah, and I think it's also just completely free because I think that's the whole point why the guy was advertising it. Because it was I was watching a streamer that I like. There's a content creator I watched like literally like back in like 2014, and then like the other week I saw he was streaming on Twitch, because like I literally was watching his content on Twitch like on my current account.
Yeah.
Back in 14, and I like popped into his stream and I was like, "Yo, like holy shit,
it's been
this guy's like still in." And it was actually crazy because he recognized me. He was like, "Wait, your name's really familiar." And then there's a couple people in chat. They're like, "Wait, holy shit, it's you!" And I was like, what do you mean it's me? And it was other people that recognized me from like being in chat, like all those many years ago, and they were also just long time viewers. And it was really, really cool, and it was something I didn't think ever would have happened. Yeah, because he was like, "Holy shit, that's so cool," and I'm like, "This is crazy as hell." I'm like, I was like in middle school watching this guy create content, and now I'm just chilling, like literally like so many years later, and the guy was like, "Holy shit, like what's up, how's life been?" And I'm like, this was not what I was expecting. I was just here for some funny content, but it was that same guy that he has that set up, and he was talking about it because I think someone
brought it up.
Because he has like he hits keys and it makes the sounds like people do on sound decks, and people are like, "Oh, you have a stream deck?" And he's like, "No." He's like, "Hell no." He's like, "No, I use this instead."
Yeah.
So I could literally just VOD and figure out what that program is.
Yeah, because what I use is literally it's the Elgato, because the usual stream decks are made by Elgato and you have to download the program for the computer, but you plug it up and it works. But with the phone, you download the Elgato like app, the Stream Deck app, and then you log in and you connect it to your computer like via Wi-Fi. And it's not laggy, but it's like you press it takes like a half a millisecond to do it, and then it does it. It's not bad. Like if I was doing stuff on the fly, like that would get irritating, but since we're doing something like this, I can just press it and do it or whatever. But yeah, that was like maybe $1.50, $2 a month. I could be wrong, but I thought that's what I was paying. But it was like a little quick thing that you could use instead of buying a $200 stream deck.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Okay.
Like if you have the money and really want to, go for it. But it's not a necessity because there are other options, which is the good thing about like the fact that it's like, it might not be as high quality as the top tier crap, but like honestly, if it works, it works. Done, it works. Like you don't always need the fancy stuff to get the job done. True.
But yeah, we'll have to figure that out sometime. We'll figure it out another time. Okay, go follow Mia's and their friends podcast. It's cool.
Yeah, we don't have the name for it right now, but like this is a good time to plug. I know we already plugged at the beginning of the stream, but like this is one of the instances where being on the Discord is actually helpful, because like as soon as like I or like we in general have the information, I will be making announcements on our Discord with all of Mia's other podcasts information, and it will be on there, and that's probably going to be the easiest way to be able to check that, because Discord's really easy for sending messages and linking stuff all together, because you don't have like the character limits like you do on it's like Twitter. And I can also just pin it, so it's there forever. It's just super easy to refer back to. So I mean, if you're not on our Discord, I recommend doing that, because it's just the easiest way to either get in contact with us or just to see stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll link it to the chat, the YouTube, because I have it right here. Go follow them.
And yeah,
it's right there. It's called
you had it.
Well, I just now pulled it up, so I did
I was like, wow.
Yeah. So it's called the Tall Short Friend Podcast. It's got the same vibe. It's got the childlike, sketch look. I dig it. I dig it a lot. And I like that Mia's doing other stuff too. So I'm always down for my friends being successful. So it's hella dope. Go check out the first episode. It's pretty cool. So yeah, it's a 13-minute long episode. It's not like ours where it's like 2 hours long and you're sitting here listening to this beautiful voice and all the co-hosts' beautiful voice says, So yeah, go check it out. It's fun. So we'll get here in and we'll get them in here to talk about it later whenever they join. So yeah. Okay, now you have to tell us this wedding crash story, please.
All right, it's nothing extravagant, but
well, no, okay. You brought it up. We're gonna hear it. We're gonna hear it now.
No, I wasn't shying away from it. I'm just saying, don't get your hopes like, oh my god, this is gonna be like a really, really funny, like ultimate wedding crasher story, because it's really not. But whatever. It was just when I was a freshman in high school. I went to like my cousin's wedding, and it was at this like hotel downtown in the city that's near me, and so I was there, with my family, yada yada yada, at this hotel. It's a New Year's Eve wedding too, so basically there's like 3 weddings happening at the same exact time in this hotel on like different floors, like literally. So there's a lot going on. And at some random point, while we're just walking around this hotel, I think because we had to move from different rooms, because how hotels have all this like different, I forget what they call them, but the big open rooms that they just change up for different occasions. So like we had the actual wedding in like one area, and then they're like, okay, then like we went to a different floor completely for like that floor is like open area for like the reception party and crap like that, And while we're just like walking around this hotel, I ran into my history teacher. We were like, oh, crazy to see you here, teacher man. And
teacher man.
Trying not to dock him or myself.
Mr. Teacher Man.
Mr. Teacher Man. And it was funny because like he was like, oh, he's like a super nice guy. Yeah. He was like an older teacher too, so like he knew my brothers, like he knew like my entire family. Well, my entire family is like my brothers and like maybe my parents. And he's like, oh, it's so good to see you. He's like, what are you guys doing here? And we were like, we're here for a wedding. And he's like, that's crazy. I'm here for a wedding. And we're like, huh, that's funny. So we talked a little bit, and yada yada. We went on our ways. That was the last time I saw him. Fast forward, wedding happened, reception happened, it's New Year's Eve, we're tired. Mm-hmm. We go home. New Year's, like, the Christmas break ends, and I go back to school. So I'm, like, sitting in class. Because I had history the last period of the day. So, like, and I'm sitting in class, and Mr. Teacher Man's like, hey, Tori, and we're talking about the weddings. Because, like, he, like, casually, like, brought it up to my class. He was like, yeah, like, I ran into Tori over Christmas break. And people were like, what? Like, isn't that weird? And we're like, yeah, we both were attending different weddings and ran into each other.
Yeah, like, teacher.
Building on the same night.
Yeah, like, teacher.
He was a chill, like, he was a fun teacher. So, yeah. Like, it wasn't weird. Like, he was like, there's, like, certain teachers that, like, because it's also like how he worded it, and I'll be honest, like this was like several years ago, so obviously I don't remember the exact way he worded it, but it was also like in a way like it wasn't like he interrupted class for it. It was like either like before class started or like when there's extra time, like when the lesson's over and you're just like chatting before you can like leave to run for the hills, aka the buses. Because it was freshman year, so we'd drive to school.
Yeah.
So, like, it was one of those times. So it wasn't like he stopped mid-class to be like, kids, guess what? Like, it wasn't, trust me, it wasn't as weird as it sounds for a teacher to just casually bring it up. But like, we were just talking about it, and he's like, yeah, he's like, so apparently, like, my cousin's name is the exact name of a student that he had, but they weren't the same person. So, because like my family, like my extended family, lives in a different part, a different area that like my small family lives in, because like we moved away from them a little bit.
Yeah.
But I guess like my cousin happened to have the exact same name as a student he used to have. So, and especially since like he saw us there, he was dead set on like, oh, I had her as a student, therefore, like, I know her. He doesn't know my cousin. He never met my cousin.
Oh, so he just...
He almost did. He almost. It was really close, apparently. Because it was funny, because we didn't realize that, like, he almost just crashed the wedding. Because, like, his wife stopped him. Because apparently the entire time, like, my Mr. Teacher Man's wife was like, dude, you don't know this person. He's like, what? Like, look at the name. I had this person as a student, like, and it's like this area. Like, how many people with that exact name are in this area? Evidently, a few. Like, you know. And it was funny because, like, literally, when he was talking to me, he was like, he was asking me questions about my cousin because he was still like, because he still wasn't convinced that, like, you know, my cousin and the student he had were not the same person. And then I was like, explaining to him, like, trust me, like, no one in my remote family has gone to the school district or even lived, like, remotely close to here. Like, unless you taught, like,
That's
where they
funny.
live. Like, I promise you, like, thank your wife because you do not know them at all.
See,
like,
what would have been the
like,
bad part of
apparently
it?
he was literally, like, at the door, like, during the actual wedding ceremony.
So what would have been bad if he did crash? Like, if he crashed it, he could have just had a good time.
Well, okay, but the difference is the stereotypical wedding crasher walks into the reception and has a good time because that's the actual party. What he almost did was walk in during the actual ceremony.
Yeah, I've seen people do that before.
Yeah, it's a lot more uncomfortable because it was like, I forget what kind of exact, I legitimately forget what religion it was because it wasn't like a wedding I've been to ever before. Because it was a specific like religion. And it was like, and it was a religious based ceremony. So they had very specific customs that they were doing the entire time.
Yeah.
So it was one of those things of like, in that, and the placement of where people were sitting and where the doors were, like, there would have been no easy way for someone to just open the door and not just be like, everyone turns and looks and it's just uncomfortable because no one knows who the hell this man is. Like, it would have been like straight out of a movie. Like, someone opens the door, there isn't a chair nearby. It's not like you can just like squeeze into a seat and it's not uncomfortable. Like, it's because it's not a hotel room thing. Like, it's not like it's the church. Like, you open up, you could sit in an aisle. Like, you could sit down pretty easily without it being weird. Like, it was just the setup of the room that, like, it was really close to, like, literally if his wife didn't stop him, it would just been, like, a ton of people would have been, like, what's this guy?
Yeah.
And it would have been, like, mid-ceremony, too. So, like, everyone's, like, dead silent listening to the ceremony.
Yeah, and he just walks in, just like, you just hear the creak of the door, and everyone's, like, turns around. It would
also be him walking in, being like, oh my god, I know this person, this is great. And then probably him being like, wait, I have no idea who this person is. So it would have been the walking in, pausing, realizing, and then having to turn around and awkwardly walk out and close the door again.
That would have been so funny.
it was one of those things. Like, it was.
I would if someone does that, like,
so uncomfortable.
if someone does that at a like, let's say I have a wedding, and somebody does that, I'm just gonna be like, hey, no, you showed up, come back, you're gonna stay,
I've been like, I mean, at the same time, like, honestly, if it did happen, in part because it was like at a hotel, it could have been like, oh, like, he was told the wrong floor. You know, even though, like, there are blatant signs outside every single door saying, like, whose receptions and whose.
Yeah.
So that doesn't happen. But, like, it could have been, like, passed off as that. But I just remember, like, when he was telling me this, like, at school, I was like, you are so damn lucky that your wife stopped you. Because, like...
See, but that would have been the
people that were there...
Yeah.
At the reception, I was like, they probably would have taken offense to someone just, like, barging in.
Yeah.
Because, like, it all depends on who's there. And it was just the people that were there I knew probably wouldn't have thought it was as funny as, like, I definitely would have thought it would have been hilarious. It's just,
you would have been on the floor.
I would have been like, holy shit, my history teacher just crashed my cousin's wedding. What are the odds? Like, to me, that's hilarious. But it was just like how does that happen? Like, when people go, like, what timeline are we on? It's like, what are the chances that you're at your cousin's wedding and your history teacher almost crashes the damn thing because he thinks he knows them, but he doesn't. It just happens to be, like, another person with the exact same name around the same age group. Like,
yeah.
That lives in the same city. Yeah, crazy coincidences. But it's like, but it's also because, like, some last names are just super common.
Yeah. See,
like, even like my last name in like my school district itself, there were like 3 or 4 families that weren't even closely related that we all had the same last name. It just happened.
Yeah, I think, like, I've been. See, okay, it's sort of. I have a story kind of like this. Not like oh, I came close and then I just backed out. No. So, I don't know if you've ever, like, been to a quinceañera, but, like...
No, I haven't.
Okay, so, depending on... I mean, most of the time, it's kind of... It depends, but most of the time, if someone's having a quinceañera, everybody shows up. And I mean, like, when I mean everybody, I mean everybody. If they can bring up the hobo off the street, like, fuck it, they're coming to the quinceañera. It's a big deal,
yeah.
So it's like...
They're big deals.
Yeah.
I know roughly about them. I just haven't been to one because I haven't been invited to one.
It's not just
invited to one, but I wasn't really close with the person, so obviously I was invited.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give so many details out because, like, but if it's not just the party for the children, it's not like a party for the teenagers too. It's a party for the adults, the kids, the, like,
big family event. From what I understand, it's a big deal.
So
they go all out.
Yeah. So what happened was, I was invited to this quinceañera for one of my friends that I've went to school, like middle school and high school with, and she invited me. And so I was like, okay, I showed up. I was like, hey, how's it going? And one of my friends, like, we had already been there for a while, like for, we were, so he goes, hey, we're going to go down the road. There's another friend. You might know her. I was like, oh yeah, I've heard of her. And, like, we talked a little bit, but I wasn't as, like, not close, but, like, we were acquaintances. So we get in the car and we just start driving down the road, and we get there, and it turns out it wasn't even this girl's quinceañera. It was some random ass quinceañera. We knew people there.
It was party hopping, but for just that.
Yeah, but the coincidence that there would be, like, I mean, two I get, because, like, from where I'm from, like, there's a lot of the population, a huge part of the population is Hispanic. So, like, there's not there's probably a chance that there's 2 or 3 quinceañeras, but, like, they're not usually the same time. Maybe I don't know. It's so we go to this other one, and I barely know who the girl is. I'm like, okay. And I see a bunch of my friends.
That was awkward.
Yeah, I see a bunch of my friends from high school, not the ones that I went with, but they're just sitting over there at the table. We're like, hey, what's up? And they make us go out there and dance. We just showed up. And oh yeah, like here's the thing: if you get dragged out to dance and you don't dance, like that's not a good thing. Like just go out there and dance. No bueno. Like go out there and fucking dance. Like so we go out there and dance and nobody knows who I am, but everyone's so wasted. Like like they don't know what the fuck is going on. They're just having a good time. And I was like, yeah. And we're all dancing. I'm messing up half the steps to the fucking song. And I'm just out there just like, and they had I think it was a live band. So you had the guy up there like going, hey, welcome to the quinceañera, and everybody's just like having a good time, and you hear like the trumpets like, and I'm out there just dancing, doing whatever. And then somehow I got back to the other party, and we were there until like 2 or 3 in the morning, like just on a school night, just like at this quinceañera, just having a good time. And I'm pretty sure she might have left maybe, but it like came back, but they didn't stop partying until 6 in the morning. And then like 2 hours later they got up and I think they went to school maybe. Like they did not stop.
You got school? Yeah, that. Wow, I salute them. I got school. Gotta go.
Well, they were.
It's a school night.
Yeah, they didn't it was so fun. I'm not gonna lie. Like usually now if I go to a quinceañera, it's like it's fucking weird. But like if we all had like a giant like baile or something, or like a
I mean, I think the reason why it's probably would be weird is because like once you hit an age threshold, they're usually held for like 17-year-olds.
Well, the thing is, like, that's not usually the case. Like if you know the family, or like well,
family friends one thing, but I'm saying like,
well, no, like
in the specific instance of like when you're party hopping, like it's a college party. It's the age.
Oh no, I'm not gonna. That's one thing. No, there's one thing from like just showing up randomly uninvited, but like there's another thing is like, oh, the cousin is my friend, or the cousin's friend is my friend.
Distant.
You can still go, like as long as like as long as you're not a nuisance and you're not being an asshole. Like nobody cares. Like seriously, I've been to a few where like I don't even know half the people here, but they're like friends of the cousin of like the and like it's just like having a good time.
I've been to events where that is a thing, and obviously like no one's gonna say anything about it, but like I still nonetheless feel like super freaking weird, because it's like, at least from the perspective of it, like when I think of it, of like if it was like my event, I guess, if it's like if the person themselves doesn't even know like a majority of the people there, I would just feel so uncomfortable. This like, it's just because like at least like how I always have to be like the host of my own things. So like if you're actively trying to go around and be a good host, but you don't the mass percentage of the people even there for like technically for like your event, it just gets really uncomfortable. Yeah. It's like, I guess like from that perspective, I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird, but like I understand that, because like I've been to events that are exactly like that. And it happens, it is what it is. But I guess it's just like also just from like my own raising. That's why like I mentally be like, if I try to think of it from like if I was in that point of view, I would just be like, I couldn't do that, because it's like,
yeah,
because I've always been in the position of like I am the host, even if it's something for me, I am hosting it myself. I am not just chilling, like I am actively working it. So, which is a big difference in a lot of cases. So.
Yeah, well, it's time to now announce the Couch Corp party. Anybody can come. I don't give a shit. Just show up. No, just... I actually...
At 12345 Street and 123 Lane.
Show up, and if you don't, you're stupid.
The zip code is, I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't even want to look up a fake zip code because it's probably a zip code that exists somewhere.
Fucking look it up.
Look at it.
Nah, like, I do want to host like a party one day, like one of these days after. I think it would be like at the end of the summer or like towards like
the last party I've hosted was the
one that
party in 5th grade.
I thought you were talking about the but you didn't host that.
I didn't host it.
We all kind of did.
No, yeah, but I mean, like the last thing I've hosted that was like an event, like my quote unquote like my event was literally when I was 5th grade.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I never had a grad party. I
didn't either.
Did birthday parties.
Yeah.
Well, I technically did one birthday party in like, what year was it? Like, it was a year in high school, but like I wouldn't consider the party. I literally just invited like a couple of kids over at my house, and we literally just like walked around and talked. So that was
like
party.
We didn't even have. I didn't want a grad party. Literally, my thought was like, I'm done with it. I don't even want to talk about it after I walk the stage. Please, for the love of God, just take me. Like I told my parents, I was like, where are we going to go eat? Let's go there and let's go home. After this, I'm gonna hang out with my friends for a few weeks and then do my own thing and get ready for whatever, like. So
That's fair.
Like, but I remember God, it was a bunch of my friends had a week-long party.
Wow.
Oh, it was, yeah. I mean, I showed up for like 2 days and then dipped, and I was like, and it wasn't like back to back. I showed up one day, left, came back, and was like, damn, y'all are still here. Like, what are you like?
Did y'all sleep yet? Damn.
Oh, they had like food, or like they would leave and like have food and then come back, and it was like, wow, okay.
No, I get it.
It was a
I
pool party.
knew several people that did stuff. It was just like the summer after I graduated, it was like my family planned a trip, like literally the day after graduation. It was like a week or 2 weeks. I think it was a week long trip, and which was like cool. But it sucked in the sense of like I didn't go to like anyone's grad party because like I was just out of state the entire time. Like anyone I knew had a grad party. Mm-hmm. I think I went to one grad party and it was literally the day I was leaving for the trip because I was like, I needed to like try to support like one of my friends because I felt bad because like my friends that would invite me to their grad parties, because like all my friends that take grad parties, none of them were like huge things. They're just like, hey, I want to hang out with my friends.
Yeah, it's got like a little kazoo and then a little party hat, and that's it.
Yeah,
like, let's hang out.
Yeah, it was same shit. Like they got some like chips and soda. Like it was like generally tame shit. But I felt bad because like all these people were not all these people, that makes me sound like I was actually popular. Like 5 people texted me and were like, yo, I'm gonna have my grad party on like such and such a date. Like, can you come? And I felt terrible because literally like all of them, I was like, dude, I'm gonna be like in a completely different state.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean? It's 2 days after graduation. I'm like, yeah, I'm literally leaving tomorrow morning. Like, I feel bad. And then the other kids that did it like mid-July, I was gone. I was gone for like the entire month. So like I wasn't home most of the summer after I graduated, which like kind of sucked because I didn't hang out with like literally anyone. I mean, I hung out with one person, and it was actually like my partner, like, you know, my beloved. But
my one and only.
Before we even realized we were dating.
My one and only.
Is the funniest part. Yeah.
The other half.
My other half. Yes. It is ironic because it was funny because like it was one of those things that my mom was like, hey, like, we technically have like another spot open, like, for our hotel, like, you know, like, for the cap. Like, yeah, if you want, like, you can invite a friend to go. And I'm like, it's my friend. I'm like, yo, you want to go on a trip with me for a week?
Yeah.
What if I just casually kidnap you for a week? And I remember, I think I had to convince their family, because I think at first their family was like, bro, what the fuck? And then I was like, I think literally I had to convince like his family to be like, bro, it's fine. Like, like, you know, because they trusted me, but it was like they didn't really know my actual family that well.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah. I'm like, don't worry. I was like, if you can get mad at me if something happened, thankfully. But no, we hung out for that week, and then I came home, and then I probably just laid on a couch for a month, and then I was like gone for another month, and then I came back, and then I went to camp. Actually, probably I think I was all over the goddamn place, like the summer after graduating, because I think I literally came back from visiting family. That's why I was gone, and then I came home. I was probably home for like a couple days, and then I went to camp. Yeah, I literally went to camp, because that was when camp was up and running, and I was there for a week, and then like literally, like 2 days after I got home from camp, it was like, all right, it's college time. You need to drive 14 hours to move into your dorm, like 10 states away, and I'm like,
yeah,
oh boy.
Man.
And at that point, everyone else was already at school, because that school started like 3 weeks later than every other college.
Yeah. I remember we what was it? Oh yeah. The I think it was like a few weeks before graduation. I was talking with one of my good football buddies, and we had classes together, and we were yeah. So
you're homies.
Yeah, we were homies. But I was talking to him, and he was like I consider him like the party dude. Like, but he and I would hang out during like when we had gym, or when we would lift weights, or when we had like lit class together, and we were like, dude, either during the summer or after graduation, we should have a week-long party. And this wasn't the one that we had went to, but this one was going to be a lot more thorough and planned out. So how it was have I told you this story? Maybe I think I might have told Gabe, but
I don't remember this story specifically.
Okay. For I'll rehash it for the audience, but
for the homies.
Yeah, for the homies. Listen up. So, but we were talking about we should have a party that's week long, and each day has a theme. So, but it wasn't like, oh, we would decorate the house to be this theme, or like we wouldn't decorate the place to be the theme. It would just be like you would show up. So you would leave and then come back. Or you would change there or whatever. So the first day was like frat day or whatever. You showed up in your khakis and polo or whatever, or like your button up with a snapback or like a hat or like a dad cap with your Ray-Bans or something. Yeah, and you'd show up, and that would be the first day. The second day would be like WWE or something, and we would hire like WWE people to come in and like do stuff, like just like pile drivers and stuff, and then and just hype up everybody. Then the third day would be like Greek night. So you would, or I guess you would say like Roman. Yeah, it'd be Roman toga night. So you'd show up in like your wardrobe, your togas, and your draperies, and just like have a good time for the third night. And then like the fourth night is like like rave or like neon or something, and then the fifth night, and it would only go 5 days because I guess Saturday and Sunday would be like it would only go 5 days. So the fifth night would be like the I don't know if it was like dress up or like, I don't remember what the fifth night was, but it was something along those lines. And then that would be the final day, and we would just like go all out and just have a good time. And so we planned this, and we didn't do it too thorough. We were just like, oh yeah, we have the idea, like one day we'll fucking do this party. And so one day, one of these days, that party will come. I'll contact him too, like, dude, we need to like do this now, and just do it and just have a good time.
It is funny though, because like it sounds like it's like I don't know if your high school did this, but I know a lot of like American high schools do this in general. American public high schools specifically, because I know the private schools probably no, just because it's the culture of public schools is like very specific.
Yo, it's completely different than private schools.
It's completely different.
Oh my god, we had a private school down the road.
Private schools and specialized schools in general, like I know they just didn't do it.
We had a private school down the road.
Spirit Week.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we had that.
It sounds like it's literally just Spirit Week, but party edition.
Yes, it was pretty much that, except you weren't restricted. So like,
you weren't restricted.
Now, I mean, it would be like, oh, you would be at the hands of the law. Like, don't come nude. Like, that's stupid.
Well, obviously,
yeah, but like,
you can wear a shirt that has a swear word, and you're not gonna be like banned.
And like, you can wear like booty shorts and like you know, or like yeah, bro. If you're 300 pounds, like you're a bro dude, and you want to wear that tank top like high up, loud and proud, hey, we salute you, bro. I'll be there with you. Like, I'm definitely down.
Yeah, where you want.
Wear what you want. As long as you're having a good time, we don't care.
As long as you're having a good time, not breaking any laws and not hurting anyone, go for it.
Go for it. And so it would basically be like Spirit Week. To the point, but it wouldn't be like, because I swear, high school Spirit Week was always like, it would always either be the same thing, or it would just be not as good. Like anytime they ever change it, they would always have like Granny Day or like Old People Day. Then they had like Jersey Day.
We didn't do that. We never did Granny Day.
We had that. It was like you dressed up as an old person.
No, I understand the point of Granny Day, but I'm just saying we didn't do that shit.
Wait, what? Okay, what did y'all do? What was y'all's days?
Okay, we changed each year. How it would work was, our student government would make it, and we would vote on it. We'd select days and put suggestions of like every year. Yeah, Taurus Day was one that we had, but it wasn't a recurring one. Like, we had it, but it wasn't like a permanent one.
That was like every other year.
Every couple of years we'd have Taurus Day. I think it stuck the last 2 years because for some reason people liked it. But the main ones that typically would stick is like Friday was always like school spirit. So like, you know, wearing your jersey, your spirit school colors, because it always lined up with, I think, our homecoming football game. Because there's always homecoming week. So like Friday was always like game day. So wear your game, you know, school pride. We always had like Pajama Day, which I think was always Wednesday. Because people love the Pajama Day, because you always want to pick days that people were actually going to do. So we always had like a Pajama Day. 1 year we had like a backwards day, which is like inside out, like mismatch chaos. That didn't do well, so that never came back. I think we always did Merca Monday, so just red, white, and blue.
We might have had that like one day, but it was kind of tacky, and we just were like,
I think we did it because like kids went all out. Yeah, and not even like in a weird like, oh, that's really
they had like.
But it was just like kids would just get, because everyone has those colors in some capacity. So even like people wearing like flag shirts, it would just be like kids would just like throw bandanas on, you know, just like, you know, they would just make it fun. We always had like a superhero day. That was another big one.
We
always
had that too.
We always had superhero day.
Yeah. Ours was and it was always it was one of these. It was Tourist Day, Superhero Day, Jersey Day. That one we had every year.
Yeah, we sometimes we did that. It was like a sport.
It was always Friday. That one was always on a Friday.
Really?
Yes. And because I would do the pep rallies, and every time we had, like, I would look out into the crowd and be like, yo, everybody's wearing like a UGA, Alabama, freaking Tennessee, like, jersey. And, you know, it was either that or Spirit Day. School. Spirit Day. We'd have that. We had Tourist Day, like...
Yeah, Tourist Tuesday. I think they always lined up on Tuesday.
I think that was ours too, yeah. And then...
It's alliteration.
Yeah, and then Monday... I think Monday was always, like, Old People Day. We had that almost every year. I swear, every year.
Yeah, that was a big one that we did not do. There was one year they tried doing it. It's a very cool concept. It just flunked terribly, which was... It was supposed to be like time travel. I think it was like Time Travel Tuesday or something like that. And what it was they assigned each grade a different time period. So like you know, seniors would be the 80s, like juniors would be the 70s, like, and so on. Which was like, the concept was really, really cool, except like it turned out that it was like there were like 2 iconic eras and then 2 random decades that like people are like what the hell am I supposed to wear for this?
Yeah.
So like only like the upperclassmen that got like the actual cool decades did it at all. So it was one of those things that like, or people were like, hey, if I have to buy something, I'm not gonna do it, which is exactly what happens. Like, you want to pick things that's easy for people to do, because unless they're like a spirit leader or like a team captain, they're not going like all out. They're just going to use shit they have around the house that they can get easily. Oh, we did cowboy. We did like, I think it was like Western Wednesday.
We had that.
Sometime. We had a cowboy day some years. We had like Western. Because again, like there are certain days that we would switch out different years.
Yeah.
I mean, it was genuinely fun. I remember the main days I would actually dress up were like, because America Monday, I just would wear like my Captain America shirt because it had the colors. And I had bandanas.
Of course.
I own a ton of bandanas.
Of course.
Actually, in college, this was evident. I would wear them all the time. I wore bandanas all the time around my neck, actually, and like on my pants, because that's what I did. Mm-hmm. I didn't at school. I would only on Spirit Days because I was terrified of people in high school. But in college, I was like, no one here knows me, and I won't get beat up for it.
Jeez.
I would never get beat up in high school.
We had we had something like that, but to keep it less confusing, we called it Retro Day, so you could choose a time throughout if you wanted to go back to the freaking Crusades. If you want to go to the Crusades, you could dress up as a knight. We had some people dressed up like it would always either be the 50s with like the skirt, or like the skirt with the poodle on it or something. Oh
yeah, poodle skirts. Yeah, poodle skirts.
And then
like it was the old fashioned diner.
Mm-hmm, like that. And then we'd always have 80s, and then God, there was one teacher that would always dress up like in the 90s, and we were like, what the hell are you wearing? Like, what is that?
It was probably just shit from like when they went to high school.
Yes, it literally was. Like,
yeah. So they were just like, this was in the back of my closet. It's from the 90s.
Yeah, it was like,
what is that? And it's like, it's the 90s.
It was like I can't
was it like
think.
The bell-bottom jeans and like the weird, because there was a shirt I owned, because it was like my mom's shirt from when she went to high school, and I had it for the longest time. I don't know why. It was just like in my drawer. And I remember like one of the years it was like they had the time travel day, whatever. I think that's what they called it, like, because it's like different time periods and you could just pick one and wear it. They didn't care. And I was gonna wear that shirt, and I remember like feeling the material And it was like because like what at the time like the material like
yeah.
the one thing I think we take for granted is like it doesn't matter like what material it is, they just make it fucking soft.
Yeah.
You know, nowadays like we're so privileged in the sense that like clothing's actually comfortable. It's like I remember like I was gonna wear it because I like it looked weird and I would never wear it on a normal day because it was a mismatch of all these colors. It was like it was bright but also pastel. Didn't really work, but I was like, but it's an old ass shirt that just screams old time period. It's like I'm gonna wear it, and I didn't even end up wearing it because I put it on and I was like, no, like I cannot wear this for like 8 hours. Absolutely not. So I just literally was like, all right, I'm wearing whatever the hell I want. I'm not participating this day. Sorry.
Yeah.
Ain't happening.
But like we had that and a bunch of people would dress up it'd always be either one of those 80s or 50s. And then you'd have that one random person that would wear like something from the 90s, or just would be stupid and wear
something from their parents.
Yeah, or just be stupid and would wear like a caveman outfit or something. I don't know.
That would be funny though.
Yeah, or it'd just be something like that. But the whole point was basically just choosing times and era from the past like 50 years or 60 years and, you know, like wear that style.
Yeah.
And so we did that.
Other days that were.
God, literally that was all we did. Like when I tell you, like,
you guys like literally have the same template every year.
Oh yeah, it was pretty close. I mean, there'd be one or two that would switch or like would like get removed. We tried to switch replaced.
Like two. Like I think we had like at least like 3 of the 5 were always the same, because I think it was like one year we tried changing like not like everything, but we changed like 4, and people were like, "Well, what about this day? We liked that day," and we're like, "Sheesh, all right." Fine, we'll go back. We'll go back. Like I didn't realize you guys were gonna be so mad, and then like, because then people are like, "But we want this," and then they're like, "But why'd you do that?" And it's like, okay, the children are never satisfied. All right, just pick something.
Well, usually the reason we did that was because we wanted to try to make it to where everybody could do it every year. Because when you're a freshman and you start out and you see the like Spirit Week or whatever, you're like, oh, okay, and you try to do it like maybe one day your freshman year, and then the next year you're prepared, so like, you know, okay, I need to go here to grab this because this day is gonna be this, or this day is gonna be that, so that then anybody across all the grades can do it and not like feel like they're confused or anything, and so that people would actually show up and wear something. The issue was, I remember seeing like one of our teachers showed us footage and like all this stuff from like early 2000s, and everyone would dress up, like everybody. If you weren't dressed up, it was like you're not, like,
a big deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal. And like literally for Superhero Day, there was a dude that dressed up as like Batman, and he actually had like wings that would actually like retract and like flap out, and they were big, like they were massive. He was like maybe 5'10" or something, and these things would like come out and he would just be running down the halls with it. And they had it on footage on like a camcorder or something. And
camcorder footage.
Yeah, it was like it had like a VCR tape or whatever. Like I remember what it looked like, but the footage was like, we were like, whoa. And then now when we look at it, like barely 25% of the school would show up dressed up or anything. Not even that. Like nobody wanted to dress up. The only time they would dress
in general,
up,
people aren't as enthusiastic about stuff like that. It's just in general, like in general, if you look at footage from like literally like even like the 90s, hell no, even like high school, early 2000s, like legit, because I actually see this shit all the time on like Instagram, where like they'll have like the footage of like the graduating classes from like 2003 and shit, and it's like it's so different from like how it is now. It's like crazy how different it is, because it's like just because like even back then education system wasn't as like damn harsh as it is now. because it just drains so many kids now that people just go to school and they're like,
they don't even want to
miserable.
Yeah,
they're miserable just like being in the building, and it sucks because like even when like students actively try to make it enjoyable, it's like a lot of times like kids just don't want anything of it. And in part, like, I wouldn't be surprised if like the evolution of technology also contributes to it, because a lot of people
I think that
like,
is, yeah,
they would rather just do something on the phone than participate in something like the school things. Because I mean, hell, even back in the 2000s, like if you wanted to do something, you went out and did it. There weren't iPhones, there weren't computers existed, but it wasn't nearly like it is today.
Yeah,
like, you know.
So. Yeah, it was. Well, the thing was like, for us, let's backtrack. For them, or for the people that were there in like the early 2000s, that was like their like output, like that was their thing. It was like, oh yeah, I want to do this to make it fun, make school fun or whatever.
Yeah.
And then they would do pep rallies and be like, okay, but the football games were, you know, like they would go to the football games and just have a blast. But for us, our output were the pep rallies. Like
your school is probably a huge exception, because like you had like wild pep rallies that like your school's pep rallies were like in the 1%.
Yeah. Well, because we made it the 1%. Because we made it.
No other public school had that level of pep rally.
Okay.
I will say, like, generally, my school, actually, it was weird. I remember this vividly in high school. Like, when I was an underclassman, I got excited for pep rallies because the entire thing was, like, I couldn't wait to be able to go to pep rallies, because in my school, because like the size of the school and how big, like where they actually had the pep rally, because they had the one gym, all the students couldn't fit.
Yeah.
So
only how they juniors and seniors would go.
Yeah, the upperclassmen could actually physically go, and the underclassmen, they could watch it. They would just like film it and broadcast it to the home rooms, and you'd have to sit in your home room and watch it. I remember being like an underclassman being like, it looked so fun because they had the band there, they had all the stuff there, and you know, it kind of was hype, you know, like, you know, like, that actually looks pretty fun. Then I remember, like, was an upperclassman. Ironically, like, this is also when I, like, had crammed schedules. I was like, you know, I would rather just have the free hour to be able to sit at a desk and just finish my goddamn work. Like, you know, like, which is, I think, was also the big difference. Like, in the last, like, 10 years, like, they honestly changed so much of just how the system works. And it's funny because they weren't as like, they were more focused on actually like teaching instead of just be like, here's all the work, just do it, teach yourself, which I think is like a huge difference. Like, the education system in general right now, it's very work heavy,
man. That was
instead of just being like, okay, here's the lesson, you get it, let's go.
Yeah,
like,
that was the thing with us. Like, we would, if you were in the regular class, so there were we would consider it like the regular classes, then you had the honors classes, and then AP. If you were below honors, like, maybe they'll give you like a worksheet, but it was the equivalent of like, just fill this out, put some numbers down, and we'll go over it during class. So if you're in honors and AP, you had a workload that was insane. You had to finish this thing. If you missed one thing, you got a 0. Like, it was insane. I hated it so much. And that was
so stressful.
Yeah. And so, like, that was the reason we loved the pep rallies. Like,
because it's a break from that.
Yeah. And so, literally, like, we were the ones that made these pep rallies actually happen. And if it wasn't for that, then like that, it wouldn't have been the way it was. And so, like, luckily they had me, one of the only guys in that entire school to like actually create stuff and make stuff and actually get stuff done and make it for these pep rallies. And then not only that, like, we would thoroughly, like, I literally told, like, before we got there, at that school, like they would wait until I think 2 days beforehand to like plan it all out. I was like, no. We're going to figure out a date for the pep rally. If it's going to be like homecoming or something, okay, we'll get about a week or two in advance. That way we can get everything set up, get things ready, and we can make sure we can get these out to this like information out to the students so that they can prepare. And they're like, what? Why? And I'm like, because if you want to have a good time, you got to make sure everybody knows. And it's like, it's the equivalent of like having a party and then waiting 2 hours before the party starts to let people know. It's like, dude, that's stupid. Like, let people know what's up, and then when they come, they're prepared, and it'll be a freaking blast. And so that's what we did. So like we would set up like group chats and stuff to make sure we spread the word, and we got things out. And so like more people would dress up for the pep rallies than they would the Spirit Week. Like that's like literally each section or each grade had their own like theme. So like of course the freshmen don't know what's up, so when they show up for the first one, they're like, oh shit, like we gotta prepare.
Yeah,
because if literally I will never like if we had a pep rally one time and the freshmen were not like loud or not like they didn't know what's up, and
yeah, they weren't used to it, so they didn't know what to expect. So
and the MC goes, oh, freshmen, why are you so quiet? And everyone goes, boo. And you can just hear everybody. The entire school goes, boo, at the freshmen. And all the freshmen just sit down. They were done. They couldn't do it anymore. They were like, oh, okay. And everyone else just had a party. We all just had a blast. And so the next time they showed up and they prepared, they were ready. They were not about to get booed. And so literally the entire thing was like, you had to go all out. If not, you were going to get booed, and you better be ready, because if you don't show up or at least try or make the attempt, like you're going to get booed. Like, so it was that like, we took it like super serious. Like, I think we took that more serious than the freaking sports events. Like, because literally everybody would show up for the pep rally and like want to like hang out and like party and stuff at the pep rallies, and then when he came to the football game, everybody just went home. Like like barely a few people came like that were from there, like from the pep rally, but like barely anybody would come back. Like they just all go home after doing that and maybe have a party at home or something. Man, that's one thing I miss from that's like one of the few things I miss from high school, because like we went all out. Like we didn't hold back.
Fair.
Wait, so what did y'all do during y'all? I always ask this for some people. What did y'all do during y'all's pep rallies?
I mean, the main difference I think with like our pep rallies and that's like yours was like yours had a lot more student like direct interaction in the actual planning of the pep rallies, where ours was like the principal was in control of everything. Mm-hmm. So it was basically just like the band would do, so like they would have like the band, the dance team, and like the cheer team do stuff, which is fun, because the band would play your songs, because like we had a really good drum line. Mm-hmm. So like when the drum line popped off, kids get hype. So like when that would happen, people would get really hyped and stuff like that. Which I mean, like, so and we had a good band. We genuinely like, apparently like our band's like a really, really good band. Like because like they do the competitions and somehow they like literally almost like win like the countrywide ones like almost every year. Like I don't know what's going on with that band, but like apparently we have a good band. So like yeah. But for the most part, it's like literally just like all of our pep rallies. It's like like they like the band does something, then like if the principal talks for a bit, and then like normally they have, I think they would have MCs, like student MCs that would talk, but a lot of it was I think generally like they would have one I think in the fall and the spring, and I think they would talk about the different sports teams. So they would have like the different captains from different teams, and they would like talk about their seasons. they'd be like, oh, like we did this and this. You know, it was like the actual talking portions were kind of right. Like, and people usually just going out, honestly. It's like, well, like when the band plays, like sometimes people can't stand up, like, what? But like, that's really it. It wasn't anything like extravagant by any means. But like, of the things like at school that would be more excited of, like actually going to the football games themselves was always more fun, especially because like for the band and the drum line. Because I will say, like, the student section when the drum line came out, because they would perform at halftime, and then drumline literally detaches and goes to the student section and just starts playing, and they just kept going, and like they literally like keep playing like during the second half for a bit, and then like to a certain point that they cut off and sit down. It becomes too much of a distraction. But like there was literally times that I'm pretty sure I have like photos of this somewhere. I remember that like literally kids from the other student section from the other school would literally disband their own student section and combine with our student section just because like our student section was just so much more fun. And no matter like what they would do to try to make their student section fun, like it just wouldn't top it.
Mm-hmm.
Like kids would bring speakers and shit, which I'm like, oh, like they, like, I'll give them that. Like they did genuinely really try to make the actual football games really, really fun. And I did generally like enjoy that a lot. Because I think I went to football games like freshman through senior year. I went to like almost every home game if I could, all 4 years, because I genuinely did enjoy the student section. There are definitely games that I had terrible times, like mainly just because like how like kids are being shitty, and it's like it happens. But like for the most part, like when there wasn't the occasional person just being like an asshole, and like it was always like, especially when I was in, like there were, I don't know what it was, I don't know what was in the water, but like the kids like 2 years younger than us, I don't know what their problem was. Like, I don't know what was going on with them, but like every single time, they would be the kids that like the student sections, like, because it's like the bleachers at the stadium. We stood in order. Like, the people at the front were the seniors, then juniors, then sophomores, and freshmen. Natural order. Everyone respects that. You know? Over the years, you get closer to the field. That's just how it is. Everyone respected that. These kids did not. And it was one of those things that people were like, dude, like, what the hell is your problem? And every home game had a theme too, and like sometimes the themes would be like each grade was a different color too, because you know, spirit and shit. And also make sure like everyone isn't wearing the exact same color. And these kids, I don't know what was up with them, but like they'd also be the people that would like take something and throw it into the crowd, which would just hit someone in the head and injure someone. And it was like always these younger kids, and I never knew what their problem was. Because I remember like those are the games I didn't have fun at, was because like I remember I myself got hit a lot. And then like some of my friends would get hit, and I'd be like, yo, like, bro, what the fuck? And sometimes it got to the point like some of the teachers, because they would have teachers like be nearby just in case like nothing got out of hand. And like I remember like there'd be times that teachers would even be like, guys, like, come on. Like, cut it out, like, not cool. Like everyone else is cool. Like all the upperclassmen are like, chill, you know, because like you're there to vibe, you know. But they're just like these gremlins were angry, and it's like, bruh, like, I'm sorry, you're angry for being younger, like, but like stop being a shithead, please.
Yeah.
For the love of God. Because they would also be the ones that they would shove their way into the lower rows that made them to the point that they were so full that kids started collapsing, and like I remember like kids end up getting actually hurt from that, and it's like, it's just like a come on moment. It was like a why? What was the reason?
Yeah.
But it happened. But I mean, again, for the most part, I still had a good time at the games all 4 years. Even when like shithead moments happened, it's the general vibe was always generally fun. And I'm an antisocial person, and I thought they were fun, so that probably meant something.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I don't know. The pep rallies were more for like I keep saying it, but like this shit was 10 times better than probably going to the game. Like I remember when a dude got thrown from the top of the bleachers all the way down to the bottom after basically stage diving all the way to the top, and like dude got chucked. Like I remember I was watching the entire thing going down while I was sitting up there DJing and running everything. Like the dude got chucked. Like he got thrown.
It would never fly at the school I went to.
Oh, well, it didn't fly at our school because all you hear on the intercom is one of the teachers going, "Put the kid down, put him down," and they were like, "Okay, we'll put him down." They chucked him. He made it. Like he was all for it. Like he was like, "Yeah, do it, yeah." And there were people there to catch it. Like he wasn't like gonna smack.
No, I understand that, but like, I'm just saying like, it's not even like.
Oh, it wasn't a smart idea.
Yeah, I'm just saying like straight up at the school I went to, like literally. Like I guess the easiest way to describe this is like when people like have their trigger finger on like the band hammer like online nowadays. It's like that was like my school to a T. Like our administration system, like literally, like if someone even like thought of it, they were already like standing next to you, like don't dare. I'll threaten to like, like they're already like threatening like suspensions just for like thinking about shit, and it's like I told you about like our senior prank, right?
I think so. Wait, go ahead and rehash it.
It was like the most simple and harmless thing ever, but like a ton of people got like suspended for it. It was just so dumb. Basically, because like for senior prank, first off, the rule was you had to run it by and have it be approved by the principal. Kind of defeats the point of a prank, but whatever. And because of this rule, like all the pranks were like really dumb because the only things they would approve were like really, really stupid shit. So like the kids before us, their prank was that they all sat down on the main staircase during like a class interchange, which honestly just pissed everyone the fuck off because everyone was late to their next class because it was just a bunch of kids just sitting down and blocking a stairway, and it was like a bunch of people got pissed off. And like another one was like people attempted to try to all make their cars go off at the same time, but like where the parking lots are in the school, like the cars are too far away, so it just physically didn't work. So like our student section, my class was like, fuck it, and it was a harmless joke. It was like, hey, let's all bring watermelons to school. We're not going to do anything bad with them. We're literally just going to carry them around, and no one's going to know what's going on. It's just going to be a bunch of kids walking around with fucking watermelons. And the reason, and at first it was approved. They're like, you know what, sure, because you're not doing anything harmless with it. And they made sure, they're like, okay, as long as you aren't going to do anything bad with them, you can do that. And they're like, yeah. It's like, yeah, we're not assholes. Like, yeah. And so people were like, okay, let's do that. And what happened was, it was literally, I forget like who it was, but it was specifically an underclassman. Like tweeted, I think they put it on Twitter, or like they basically like they tweeted it or something, and the principal saw it, and they were basically like, oh, like the seniors are totally gonna either like throw the watermelons down the stairs and cause destruction, or like purposely lodge them in areas that would cause property damage. Which, no. Like, no. was not the plan. And literally none of the seniors were like, yeah, let's do that. Because, like, if anything, a senior was like, I might just tuck it into this obvious space so if someone walks by and goes, why is there a watermelon there? But, like, no one at all was like, I'm gonna throw this watermelon at someone because it would cause major bodily harm. Because, again, seniors are like 18 years old. They kind of have basic human thought. But nonetheless, the principal went full-blown, okay, there cannot be a single watermelon in this school, so help me God. So literally the day that, like, senior prank happens, I remember going to school, and there was administration staff walking around the parking lots, checking people's cars for watermelons. Like, you swear to God, like, these watermelons were, like, explosives. Like, they were treating it like crazy. They were checking people's backpacks before they got to school. Like, when kids would walk into school, they made them stop and do back checks to make sure, like,
Jeez.
they physically didn't have a watermelon on them.
Wait,
it was
so we're gonna have to stop you because we have an idea that you might have a watermelon.
I got to school like 15 minutes early, so like I like was just walking in while they were starting to do that shit, and like apparently like the funny part was like there were kids that had watermelons in their backpacks that got to school before they started checking, because I remember like one of my friends was one of those people, and she had a watermelon in her backpack. And, like, they started threatening to suspend kids that had watermelons that were sneaking them in. And, like, I remember, like, because, again, super nice girl. She didn't know what to do. And she was actually, like, terrified that she was going to get, like, detention for having a goddamn watermelon.
Oh, we didn't have detention. So I remember
she was like, she was like, oh, do I shove it in my locker? And then, like, it wouldn't fit in her locker. And then she's like, I have to go to class. And, like, my binders and shit are under a watermelon. Like, open your backpack and there's just a watermelon there. I forget what she ended up doing. I think someone else was like, dude, I'll take it. Like, I'll worry about it. And, like, someone else took it off her hands and dealt with it. And it was fine. But it was like a bunch of kids like got through with watermelons and they didn't know what to do with them, because if they walked around with them, because they were still like checking throughout the day for where watermelons were, because like you swear to God, like you swear to God it's a weapon of like mass destruction, like how it was treated. It was crazy.
They have a watermelon. Watch out for them.
I remember like, because like especially in like homeroom, people were like, does anyone have a watermelon? And like a couple people would nod and be like, they're like, we don't know what to do. They're like,
don't tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. I have a watermelon.
They're like, don't snitch. And we're all like, zip. We're like, we ain't no snitches. But what would happen is like, if kids were walking into school holding a watermelon, they would just take it. They would just take it off their hands. And like, I remember like a couple kids saying like, the principal would literally walk up to people's cars before they even got out of their cars, and they would literally threaten them. Like, they're like, keep the watermelon in your car or else. and I was like, oh my God. Like, they were threatening kids over watermelons.
Over a watermelon.
Literally over watermelons. And I remember like one kid was like, guys, the prank was that we were gonna walk around with our watermelons and take them home. My mom literally bought that watermelon for something, and I brought it here, and they confiscated the watermelon. I don't know. It's funny shit.
Man, I remember
the watermelon stolen and didn't tell their mom that they took their watermelon for a prank.
See, I remember
explained to their mom that they got their watermelon confiscated by the principal of the high school.
Jeez. God, see, I remember
what sucked was because what happened was a bunch of kids had to have all these watermelons in their car all day, and after the fact, a bunch of the kids just got pissed, so they just smashed the watermelons in the parking lot.
Nice.
So if anything, Like, if they just let the kids fucking walk around holding a watermelon just to... Because the whole point was, let's just confuse the shit out of people. The whole point was, like, let's just confuse people. And then, like, I think the plan was, like, after school, they were probably going to cut some of them up and just eat them and enjoy them because it was a hot day. Because, you know, it was right before school was letting out. You know, it was starting to get really warm. They're just going to chill with, like, lawn chairs and just vibe in the back lot. But, like, no. The school ruined it. So then a couple kids went apeshit and started just smashing watermelons in the back lot, which I remember was just annoying because I was like... Because then when you're leaving, you had to, like, play dodge the watermelon.
Don't skid out on a watermelon.
Yeah. Like I'm driving out of it, and I'm like, I don't feel like driving over, like, the corpses of the fallen today. Thank you very much.
My God. See, we had a...
the senior prank?
Yeah, we had one, but it was like...
Oh, we did one the next day. I forgot.
Like, we didn't... Ours was like... we didn't really... It wasn't that we didn't care. Well, yeah, no. It was just like we just wanted to do something and then just didn't care. Most of the time, everybody just wanted to skip. So I think we had like 2 senior skip days. One was the senior prank and the other one was an actual skip day or something like that.
We were going to, but I think it was like senior finals. Like, they had something going on that, like, I don't remember exactly what it was. They had something planned the last, like, 2 weeks that it, like, if you skipped, it would have been, like, troublesome. I forget what it was. They had their way. I just remember, I think in, like, quote-unquote retaliation, we just did we did 2 different senior pranks. Like, because the watermelon was, like, the initial one, and it kind of failed. But then they're like, fuck it. Let's do this other one. And it was an optional thing that, like, only a couple kids... I say a couple, but, like... a solid, like, third of the seniors probably did it. And it was, they basically made a giant water slide. There's a specific name for them, but, like, you know, like the water slides that you just put on your yard and you run and slide, like, jump and slide down them? Slides. They made a giant one of those, like, because, for perspective, like, for how big it was, there's like the campus, quote unquote, of, like, my high school. It was like my high school and my middle school were on the same lot, and then there was a long stretch between the two, which is where all the buses would line up. And there was a big field that was also along that stretch that we used as a soccer field. They made that soccer field, because it had a slight slope at the one end, into this, like, huge ass slip and slide. So they basically, like, got it all prepped up, and they got, like, a bunch of, like, dish soap and shit to make it all nice and slippery. And it was like, and they did it specifically, like, it was before the school day, so, like, it was like they told people, like, do it before school, you know, so, like, they gave them, like, okay, like, come at this time, like, a good bit before the school day, just so it gave people time to have fun, do it, and then, like, be able to go to the locker rooms, like, change, probably get a quick shower, and be able to make it to homeroom before, like, missing attendance. And that then became, like, the quote-unquote, like, our actual prank, which, to be fair, would be hilarious, like, because it's right next to where the buses are. Like, there would be kids arriving on their school buses and being like, what the hell's going on there? It's just the seniors slipping and sliding all over the place. Like, you know, which is kind of funny. I remember hearing about it, and I was like, that sounds fun. I wouldn't do it, like, personally. Like,
yeah. Well, see, one time, like, we...
It was after school, but more likely, because it's, like, no risk.
Yeah, it was, like, one time we thought about doing that, like, but it was... Here's how it would go. Like, we had this long hallway, like, going from one end of the school.
In school.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see, that wouldn't fly.
And so basically we would line the halls with like some sort of, you know, something that we could like roll up, but still like, you know, like we could roll out and then roll up and not make a huge mess, you know, and then just throw it in the dumpster or something.
Yeah, kind of like but they have like paint guard.
Yeah, it was like a rubbery substance or like a silicone or something that we could just roll out or something. And so we would roll, like my thought was like we'd roll it down the hall, lather it up with whatever dish soap we had and water to an extent, because I mean if it's too much it'd spill over, but like we would just the whole thing was we would run and see how far we would get down the hall or if we just got all the way to the end we would just hit the door or something, the double doors, and just smack into, you know, or something like that. But I think most of the time it was just like anytime we ever would think of like a senior prank, it would just be like, dude, why do we have to, like, why don't we just take the time to put this towards something we like I don't know, pepper alleys. Like
yeah, that's fair.
So but I remember that was a big thing, like senior pranks were a big thing, like before our time, like
they were, and that's the thing, because like I remember like, yeah, because even like one of my brothers from high school, like they actually did stuff and it was fun and it sounded so fun, and I was like, oh, that's gonna be fun. But like the big difference is because like even like the entire administration team at my high school changed in the time like that I went to high school, my brothers went to high school, and it was just so much more strict. And that was the main reason why it's like, even if we wanted to do like the same prank like my brother's class did, which again was completely harmless, like it would not have flown, because it would have been too much of a like distraction from the educational, like, you know, it was like, you know, some BS, you know. It's like, okay, like literally one of my brothers, their senior prank was like they played freezer tag mid-school day in the hallway, and like even shit like that would not fly. Like it's just harmless stuff like that.
Damn. See, like we had people before us, and this was like, when was it? It was probably like 90s or something, like early, probably late 80s or something.
So a while back.
Mm-hmm. But what they did was
that's when you could get away with actual pranks.
Oh, it was good for the time. Like I was thinking, oh, that's devious. That's awful, but so funny. So
yeah. Well, they didn't care back in the day.
Well, to an extent, they were just like, oh, I mean,
in comparison to now.
Yeah, no, they didn't give a shit. Like
in comparison, it's like they didn't care at all. But like, obviously, they still cared. But like in comparison, it's like you even like go, this would be funny, and administration's like kicking down the door and like being like threatening you with a stick. Like, you can't do that. And it's like,
well, back then, I think it's a technology thing too. But either way, like, so they were going into school one day or whatever, and a bunch of this group of guys or whatever decided, you know what, let's go and grab like a bunch of crickets and grasshoppers and release them in the school. And I was thinking, okay, but they were thinking years ahead. Because what'll happen is these crickets and grasshoppers will get into the cracks and crevices and live amongst the school.
Yeah, it all depends on where you place them in school.
Oh yeah, and to this day you can still
like events and shit. Like, yeah.
Oh yeah, to this day you can still hear them. Like, yeah, like we would walk into school like, damn, why is it so loud?
No, as soon as you mentioned it, I was like, I know exactly where this is going. Yeah, and especially like crickets, because they like mass produce.
Oh yeah,
like rapidly.
You'll see one.
Grasshoppers not so much, but like crickets.
Yeah, you'll see one. You'll be walking down the hall and you'll see one in a corner and like, wait, how did that? Oh wait, okay, that's. And teachers remember that. Like they remembered. Like, oh yeah, I remember when that happened.
Yeah, they're like, yep.
They could not figure out who did it, but
definitely group effort.
Yeah, well, I
But
found...
they wouldn't know who the mastermind was.
Yeah, well, I found out who it was because the guy who did it, his son was in my grade.
That's funny. Oh, yeah. And that's absolutely something you brag about. Like,
yeah.
why wouldn't you? What are they going to do about it now?
I can't do shit.
They're not going to charge you for anything. Because, like, at the worst, it's like, oh, this person said they did it. And?
Well, what now? I mean...
What now? You're not going to get charged for a felony of releasing crickets in a school from 30 years ago off of a he said, she said.
Yeah, it's like...
you know?
Yeah, and they... But then they... Yeah, they didn't really do anything. They just, like, let it happen. They're like, okay, and couldn't do anything about it. So
at that point, they're like, this sucks.
Oh, yeah, they're pretty much like, oh, well, damn. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
So...
I think the worst, like, in comparison, that, like, something's happened like that at my school, because, another thing is, like, so, as far as, like, older pranks, like, from that era, my high school probably wasn't built yet, but the middle school I went to was, because, like, the middle school I attended was the original middle school, like, the OG, and actually one of the current elementary schools was the OG high school. But like, I remember hearing this when I was in middle school, because it's one of those, like, someone did this as a prank back then, and it still has repercussions today type of pranks.
Yeah.
And it was like, there was some kind of animal involved. I think it was fish. But technically, I don't know, because I don't remember. But it was like some sort of animal was, like, hidden in different parts of different classrooms. And they were just never found. And I think it's fish, because I think it was just, like, dead fish.
Ew.
Because the thing is, like, I highly doubt it was an actual, like, small animal, because, like, that would have just been fucking terrible. I think it was literally just, like, someone got, like, a bunch of fish from the market, and it was, like, on the last day of school they did this, and they just, like, hid it in different, like, just cabinets that were, like, very rarely used, and they just, like, hid it, and they tucked it in different areas in different parts of the school. And the school closes down for the summer, they turn off the heating, like, and everything. They just shut it all down and don't use it. And it was one of those things that, like, everything just incubated. So, like, around late summer when they opened the school up again to clean it, it was one of those things that, like, this really wretched smell was happening, and they could not figure out what it was. And I think for a while they thought it was like a gas leak, because, like, they were like, what's this putrid smell coming from? Like, there was nothing wrong. Like, the school was closed all summer. Like, no one was in and out. What was going on? And, like, I think eventually, like, they found most of it. But I think it was one of those things of, like, they still don't know if they found all of it. So I remember, like, teachers talking about it when I was in middle school, and they're like, because I think I was, like, one of the classroom I was in was one of the classrooms. They're like, yeah, there was something in that cabinet, and it's like there's still, like, remnants of, like, if you just get hit with a fucking awful smell, it's like it's that thing, because they're pretty sure, like, there's some of it, like, in the vent somewhere. Like, there's probably one in the vent somewhere that they just never got. It's just, like, fucking there forever.
Yeah.
Until they, like, tear down the building, probably. That one devious asshole that just goes, I'm gonna do this. I mean, especially at the middle school age, kid probably wasn't thinking. They probably like, oh, this is funny. Just does it, and then it's like, when you realize what you're actually doing, just throwing fucking, like, fish and just allowing it to decompose. Like, God.
Yeah. Man. Oh, we've been going for 2 hours. Half of the podcast is done. We're going on 4 hours, baby. Yeah, nah. I just was looking. I was like, "Oh shit, man!"
As soon as you mentioned it, I was looking at the time. Yeah,
it's like, damn,
that's crazy.
Yeah,
time flies.
Yeah, I think Mia's gonna hop on a little bit, maybe. So, but also, I think we should go ahead and like make an announcement with the confession card.
Yeah, go for it. It's your bit. You talk it. You know a lot. Yeah, you know a lot more than I do.
But okay. So, Couch Corp is doing another segment for the Couch Corp podcast called Couch Corp Confessions. We will be sending, or we already have, we sent out a form for the Couch Corp confession card out to the Discord, and we're going to be doing it we're going to send it out to social media in a little bit. So what the idea is, the segment is, you write in on the Couch Corp confession card, do read the guidelines and everything to make sure you're doing it right. We'll read it on the Couch Corp podcast live, and then we'll give you our evaluation of the situation. And I don't know how we would handle whatever you're basically telling us. So it can basically be any sort of, give us like a story time or like a embarrassing moment or like anything, a confession. Just say it. Like whether you, I don't know, you accidentally gave somebody a flat tire and now you feel bad about it. I don't know, something like that. And just tell us whatever. Like, don't hold back either. It could be anything, literally anything. Don't hold back. Do read the guidelines, but we'll put it in the chat for y'all so that y'all can go and basically write in. I'll tweet it out to everybody so that y'all can go and try it out. And just send us anything, and we're gonna we'll just read them live on the podcast. So we're probably, depending on how it goes, we'll probably wait until the next podcast to do it, just to let people write in as many times as they want to, or let people just write in. So do go fill out the form. Oh, you already got it. Nice. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, but go write in like anything. Don't hold back. We don't care what it is, but we do have the right to like deny some stuff if we feel like it's a little too much. Just don't be super graphic about it. Like, we don't need to know itsy bitsy details about like, just say it. Don't. Yeah. So if you want to do that, if you want to write your fan fiction, go to Reddit, so yeah, but there's that. We're probably going to be doing that either this upcoming Saturday or the next Saturday, depending on how many submissions we get in. And we're not aiming for a certain amount of submissions. We're aiming for as many as possible. That way we have enough to like go through the episode, so we're not just cutting it short after 30 minutes. So yeah, do write in. Send it to people if you want to write in and have someone else write in. But yeah, it's just a little fun thing that we're wanting to try to do. And we thought it'd be something new and refreshing for the podcast. So yeah.
Yeah, as a random note, even though it's called Confessions, don't think of it as a, hey, I've done this, like an actual confessional, because it's not. We're just calling it that, even though it's just kind of like because you can quote unquote like confess and be like, hey, here's a random embarrassing thing that's happened to me, but I think it's funny, and you can put that there. And a big note is everything's anonymous, so like even when we look at the forms, we don't know. So like, which also adds to the fact that when we look through it, there is literally no bias. We don't know.
Yeah, but
we don't know who's just what's and all that stuff. And so like we look at it from that objective. Like, we just look at the content itself, and it's really just like when we are looking at it, we just are making sure that everything in it's appropriate and in the nicest way possible. Like also like if it hits something, it's like if someone's literally asking about like, hey, I actually have this problem.
We're not therapists.
We are professionals.
We're not therapists. We're not professionals.
We can't handle actual professional issues, unfortunately.
We're not psychologists, so please don't. We're just a bunch of dudes on the internet. Go to a professional if you need help. Like, don't do that. Like, just read over the guidelines. The guidelines will tell you exactly what we're like looking for. We will probably edit it in the next day or two just to be able to make it sure it's thorough. But the guidelines are not a rule book. Like, it's not like it's not going to be. It's not going to let.
There to help.
It's there to help.
If you need something to reference.
If you have like literally don't hold back, like literally just write whatever, because we will at the end of the day deny it. There's no penalty. Like we're not going to, the worst that'll happen is that we just go, well, we don't want to read this out loud because we don't think this is going to be a good idea to read this out on the podcast. But do write it. And if you need to, like, write it out in a way that will help it get on the podcast. So like we have one part that's like keep it PG-13, but like if it's something where it's like, you know, keep it vague. Like if it's something more mature, keep it vague, you know, or like make an innuendo or something, you know, like, you know, so like we don't mind y'all writing in whatever, but we do have the right to deny or reject a submission, and we're not gonna hunt you out and tell you that you got denied. Like, no, it's just we're gonna move on. We're just gonna move on to the next one.
It's literally just the worst that can happen is just it doesn't get selected.
Yeah.
So
do write in though. Like we're not going to call you out for anything because it is anonymous, but then again, like we wouldn't just call you out for whatever. Just write it. It couldn't hurt for you to just write something. So, and it might be on the podcast. And make sure, and if it's funny, dude, that's even better. Like if that's hilarious, like, you know, so we will joke about it.
Distinction. Yeah, an important distinction is that entire podcast isn't just us reading it. The whole point is like we read it and use it as a talking point. So like, you know, we would read it. Hopefully all four of us can be there, but of course like stuff happens, you know. But like that's always the goal. That, you know, it's just something that like a bunch of us can bounce off of, talk about, joke about. Maybe, you know, maybe someone has a story that's similar. It's, you know, it's a bouncing off point that, you know, can get us talking about things that maybe like we haven't even been to before on this podcast, you know. And then like once that settles, we get another one out. It's, you know, that is what the aim is for this. It's not just us sitting and being like, oh, this person said this is funny, haha, let's read another one, you know, just so people are aware. Like it's not just going to be us sitting reading these out loud. There's going to be more to that.
Yeah. Just be prepared. Like we're going to read this out loud.
Don't take it personal.
Don't take it personal. Like,
there's more than one reason if one doesn't get read out. For example, like in the possibility that we get a lot, we can only do so many in a single podcast episode because we do try to keep our podcast under a certain time in general, just so it's not too lengthy for people that don't watch it live. Mm-hmm. So, and there's always the instance of like, if people end up really liking that type of content in general, we could do multiple podcasts of that in which we would be able to, you know, one, have more submissions be submitted, and as well as hit some of the ones that weren't brought up in that episode. So yeah. It's like,
do be prepared. Like, just keep writing. If yours wasn't announced on the podcast or like wasn't read aloud, write it in again, and it'll when you write it in again, it'll be sent to the top of the list once it's written in. So like we'll be able to see it and be like, oh, okay, and then we'll say it again. If it wasn't said on the podcast, write it again. And
well, we just make a new form each time. I mean, well, that's also
or we'll delete it whenever. So our plan is whenever we do the podcast, we'll delete all the posts that after that podcast is done, so that we can keep an updated version of it, because we can go in and delete all the posts or responses, and then we can save whatever responses that we want to be able to, work for the next podcast. So you good?
Yeah, I deadass thought my internet stopped working and maybe you were talking, so I just was like, I'm not gonna talk in case my internet bugged out. But I guess it was just us sitting in silence.
No, I was waiting on you to say something. I was like, okay.
Oh no, I was like, because at first I was like, okay, just awkward silence, and then I was like, it's never silent this long. My internet must be broken. But it was just us being silent.
Just sitting in silence, Lord.
Just sitting in silence.
Yeah, so go fill it out. That's all I gotta say. That's it. That's the end. Dead ass. Just go fucking fill it out. So, yeah. We'll send out a tweet and everything, but do it.
Do it.
That's another soundbite we need for
it never gets old.
It never gets old.
Palpatine.
Do it.
Do it. Do it.
That's another soundbite we're gonna add to it. That and chirp chirp birdseed.
Was it chirp chirp birdseed?
I swear I thought it was something like that. We have to go back. I told Insect we got to go back to the logs and find it.
Had to go back to the.
God, it was one of the first few episodes.
I don't even remember what episode it was from.
I can't remember if it was during the podcast or pre-podcast.
No, it was during the podcast.
Was it? Okay.
I remember that. It was during the podcast. I just don't, for the love of me, remember which one it was. It was one of the earlier ones, but
yeah, that's the thing. I can't remember it.
Probably in the first 5 or 6.
Yeah, that.
On that note, it's crazy. We're at 17.
Yeah.
17 weeks.
Day 17. Give it up for day 17 or week 17. Give it up for week 17. Yeah, I'm literally the thing was, I think the goal that I was setting for us to do was we don't miss a week. Kind of like how I do with the everydays. Whenever I do my everyday art, do not miss a day, because once you miss that day, it's so
much harder to get back into.
Yeah, you're gonna give yourself some slack, and you're gonna be like, well, we can miss 2 days, and then it's gonna end up we're gonna miss 3 days. Oh, we can miss 4 days. It'll be fine.
4 years.
Yeah, and then we end up doing it. We don't do it again.
Yeah.
The more, and I've learned from other people too, even if something gets in the way, figure out a way to do, sometimes
just doing something, even if it's not extravagant.
Do if everyone has to leave and you have to leave too, sit down for I don't know, 4 or 5 minutes and just talk or give an announcement to the stream, just so you have something out there. Whether it be because some people will do an update podcast where literally they'll just sit down for 10 minutes and give updates on what's going on with the podcast itself or what's going on with the community, and give out different stuff.
Podcast is a little bit different because and this happens with a bunch of content creators, because I've seen it happen. Again, I'm an ancient person. Apparently, I checked while I was just sitting in the stream. Apparently my active Twitch account's been around since early 2015. Apparently, I've just been this platform.
That's considered ancient now? Oh, shit.
Twitch itself was like made in like 2011.
Yeah, so, I've had a Twitch account since like 2013, I think.
Oh, was it a different one?
I think it was like
I think I had a Twitch account before my current one, but my current
before they got bought out by Amazon. I've had one pre-Amazon, but like I'm pretty sure I don't even know what it is.
When did Amazon get involved?
I swear it was like 2015, 2016 maybe.
It was after I started watching. I know that for sure because I vividly remember like it before everything changed, because like there was like a break in time from when I actively was watching stuff on Twitch. Well, because I remember for a while I watched stuff on Twitch without an account too. It was a long time before I actually made an account. Which I don't think it was this account, because this account was like when I actively started using the user like Kovic Party, and that was like 15.
Yeah.
So apparently, like according to the thingy, when you like your name, when you look at it, yeah, this was like February of 15. So apparently, I just actively had my current Twitch account for a long time, 6 years.
I mean, that's still, but that's considered ancient now. Would you consider that ancient?
On the person, like, well, I guess consider it this way. I guess I've had like my current Twitch account for longer than Discord has been invented. Discord became a thing, actually, like 6 years ago, a couple days ago. Yeah, I just found that out because of the most recent update. It actually talked about it.
Damn. See, it's weird because I remember when YouTube like was starting.
Yeah, when YouTube early.
Yeah, and everybody made like a YouTube account and tried. It's almost the equivalent of what people are trying to do nowadays. It's
a new way of content.
Yeah, because I remember way back when people try to make would make gameplay content. And I did it. Like we made like Call of Duty content and
Call was so popular.
Yeah, and it was me and one of my friends, and oh shoot, yeah, that's when I remember, because one of my good friends, his brother is now TikTok famous, and not like 5,000 followers. He has like millions and millions of followers following him. I think he's with the one of the TikTok houses or whatever, but
I don't know what that means, but okay.
Yeah, well, there's like the Hype House.
You won't be able to explain to me because I'm not gonna be. I don't know TikTok.
I don't know. It's one of the. It's like a Hype House, or like one of these houses that they have for social media influencers to all get together in a mansion.
Like an actual.
They actually all live in a house or some shit. Okay. I don't. They own a mansion and they all live in it.
I didn't know if you meant like an actual house or like.
Or that was the name.
The group house.
No.
Hype House is the name of the group.
No. They actually live in a house. They live in a house or like a mansion. But
the reason why I asked that is because again, back in 2012, a lot of the influencers all moved in together. And it never worked out.
Well, the only ones that worked out
for a very long time, they no one did that. Even if they were really close friends, they were like, "Do you know what we're not gonna do? Live in a house together."
Yeah, so the only ones that worked out
again.
The only ones that worked out were that I can remember of were any of the gamers, like FaZe Clan.
No.
FaZe Clan, most of the FaZe Clan.
A lot of gamers also had big falling outs.
Well, FaZe Clan has kept their same people for the past 12. Well, they change over time, but
a lot of cases of when a lot of those people would just live in the same house together, it just didn't work out. And it was mainly because, and it's all about how they did it. I don't know all about FaZe Clan, but they might have just honestly just did it right, which is how they incorporated it, because what happened was like a lot of these groups, they're like, oh, we're good friends, and they're good online friends, and then like out of nowhere they all just move into this house and they don't know each other's living styles at all, and then all of a sudden they're all living in one house together, and then like, yeah, no shit, like people don't get along together. It's the same reason why like the biggest thing like people tell you in high school is don't dorm with your best friend, because most times, like, not necessarily your best friend, but like don't dorm with one of your like good high school friends, because even though like you're good friends with them, half the time it just tarnishes your relationship with them, because no matter what, it's just like when you're just suddenly into actually living with someone, even if you're good friends with them, cases then not, like if it's, especially for whatever reason, if it's someone that's your friend, like you're pretty close with, you end up like just not getting along together over like the simplest shit of just house shit, and it just goes south immediately.
Yeah.
And like that's what happened a lot of times with these big groups.
Yeah.
I remember it happened with like Team
Vine.
Crafted and shit.
Vine, that
a lot of the Vine people.
Yeah.
It happened with like other vlogging.
Well, that
YouTubers.
morphed. Vine morphed, and it went from, you had like
well, no, I'm talking about a YouTube group before Vine, though.
Yeah, well, here's the thing: the Vine one morphed. So what happened? It was always like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, and then they had like the Rudy, what's his name?
A bunch of them, but I don't know their names.
There was like Amanda Cerny and King Batch and Was Good or West Good.
Like Lily one of them?
Lily was one of them. And
There's
then
a lot.
Yeah, and then Vine kind of, it didn't die, but like they all got in a falling out or something. Well, yeah, it died, but they all fell out.
Rest in peace.
And then that Vine group morphed into Logan and Jake Paul's Team 10.
Split. Yeah, it split into like 5 different groups. Because like a lot of the same people were still really big, but they all had their own separate friend groups.
Yeah.
So, like Lily then hung out with like David Dobrik's group for a while.
Yeah.
And then they had a falling out.
Ugh.
I don't follow drama. I just remember it like at one point being like, oh my god, David Dobrik and Lily had a falling out, and I'm like, okay. Well, okay.
Yeah. Most of the time it's like I don't even want to, I just want to see funny shit and then move on. Like I'm not trying to keep up with everybody's lives.
Joke. I don't care about like their new toilet that they have $1 million to spend on willy-nilly. Like I don't.
That was the funny thing when I think it was either Logan or Jake threw all their furniture in a pool and lit it on fire. That shit was so stupid.
I think I remember hearing about that just because the cops got involved.
Yeah, and then people started to hang out outside of his mansion, and everybody was like singing that song or whatever.
I forget what it was, but I just remember like it was all the time.
It's something yo with the Disney Channel flow.
Oh, it was probably his like.
His diss track or some shit.
Yeah, it was probably just
everyone. Literally, all the children were singing that, and then we were like, "What the fuck is this? What is this?"
I was like, all the younger kids were like, "Oh my god, so cool!" And I'm like, "Oh god."
They were all singing, "Yeah, Disney Channel flow," and we're all like, "What the fuck is this?"
I was like, "Oh god, the iPad kids."
That's what we're gonna call them. They're not Gen whatever the fuck. They're iPad kids. That's what they are.
Because the thing is, technically, like, which is like, it sucks, but it's true. Because like, generations, like 14 years in one generation. So like, technically, like, a lot of the kids that are so fucking cringy, and I stand by that. Sorry, y'all are cringy.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
I'm in the same generation as them, and I'm like, oh, like shit. Like I'm at the, like I'll be at the very, like, you know, like I'm at the old part of it, but like Gen Z, man, like it's a huge group. It's a huge group. And it's like all those cringy kids I'm technically in the same generation with. I'm like, God damn it. Like I was raised like a millennial. Like, God damn it.
I don't even give a shit about the generation. I will never forget, like, these old, like, I'm pretty sure if the older generations hadn't started saying, oh, these stupid kids and da-da-da-da-da, there wouldn't have been...
all the fashion millennials for the longest time, well, and now it's like...
Now it's the Gen Zs.
Just, like, laughing.
Yeah, well, see, here's the thing, like it used to be every generation would, like, shit on the next generation, and then they get to Gen Z, and Gen Z's just sitting there dying laughing as they're shitting on them, like, dude, y'all are old as fuck, like... that's we don't get... Like, the Gen Z they don't get butthurt.
No, Gen Z doesn't give a fuck because Gen Z was raised on the internet. And, like, when you're raised on the internet, hate all you do is sit and laugh at it.
Exactly. So, it's like, yeah.
Any generation that goes like, haha, Gen Z's dumb, Gen Z just goes, yeah, we are, but you guys are old.
Yeah, you guys are old as fuck. No, the funny thing... The funny thing is when they bring up like shit from the past, like they're like, oh yeah, like you had like the boomers or like before that generation before it, and they're like,
I call like 20-year-olds boomers, and I don't know why.
I don't get it. Like, no, the thing is, like, when you call the generation before the boomers, they're like, or no, what was it? I guess you could say the boomers, and they're like, oh, you got Gen Z so stupid, and then we bring up like old shit from the past, and we're like, yeah, well, at least we didn't do this in history, and they're like, oh.
It's like, to be fair, what do you think about this shit? Like, what's it, like Gen X has done? Because like,
what are we on? What are we even on? There's so there's boomers, and then there was
okay, because the thing is, like, the baby boomer generation are like the people that are like 70, 80 now.
Boomers was pre-Vietnam.
Yeah, no, the boomer generation's actually like a lot older than people realize, because a lot of people assume like, oh, around like the generation that everyone's parents are in right now is boomers, and it's not, because that's like Gen X, I think.
Nah, Gen X is I think it's like 80s is mostly what they
it's 70s.
It's mostly it's late 70s 80s sort of. It's somewhere around there. And then
I know my parents were in Gen X, so that's why I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's right.
It might be 70s too. Yeah, it's okay. So I have it pulled up.
It's 60s. It's 60s to early 80s.
This one says 1970s to 80s.
Start date was 1965.
Okay, so it might be mid 60s. Boomers are because I remember the only reason I remember the boomers was because after World War II there was a huge population increase pregnancy increase because of the war.
Yeah, the whole name was the fact that the population went.
Yeah, and then there was this. I think before that there was the silent generation. Yeah, silent generation. That was like during the time of like World War II, the 30s. I think it had to do with the 20s too. Yeah, the 20s. And then the Lost Generation. That one was like Civil War era, wasn't that? Or like early 1900s?
I'll be honest, I don't remember the old ones. I know like it goes like then like something, and then like X, Y, and then millennial, I think, and then Z.
Yeah. Well, I remember one of them. It was the Greatest Generation is what they called it, because it was the generation between 1900 and like the late 1920s. Because
but they did it because it was like 100. It hit the 1,000 mark, so they probably didn't call it that.
I think they called it the Greatest Generation because it was the generation that they shaped a lot of stuff for the modern era type of deal. Like, I think that was why. But they were they were mostly the ones that would like end up fighting in World War II. So And they were the ones that set up for the rest of the millennia. And the millennials are like early 80s to late 90s.
Yeah.
And then
the millennials is like 98 or something like that.
Yeah. Guess what the newest one is called? Gen Alpha. It's called Gen Alpha.
I'm going to Greek letters now. We're gonna have like Alpha, Omega, Beta.
Yeah, but it has to deal with the generation born between 2010 and 2020.
God, well, it's gonna be longer than that because they go for like 15 years or something like that.
Yeah,
but
it's something like crazy. So.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like Gen Z is literally like, because it's everyone born. It's like 99. What do you say? Like 2010? Like that's so many. Because I know it's before 2000. I know it's like a year or two before 2000. And it goes till, actually, wait, I think millennials, the cut is like 95-ish.
Yeah, it's 96, I think.
Yeah, I think it's 96. Actually.
Yeah, 96. Yeah.
Yeah.
What's for the Gen Z? Gen Z was like...
Gen Z's freaking huge.
Yeah, well, Gen Z they're also called Zoomers, and I think they're also called post 9/11 babies or post 9/11.
Well, that's technically not true.
Well, because I mean, you do have that little bit of the end of the 90s, but like, it's
97 to 2015. That's that's crazy.
Yeah.
To imagine, because it's just a huge gap. I mean, like every generation's a huge gap, but like it's just crazy that like you get like someone that was born like 5-6 years ago is the same like quote unquote grouping as someone born in 97.
Yeah. I think they were also called Gen Tech. I think the reason they called it like post 9/11 is because a lot of the kids that were in Gen Z,
at that point.
Yeah, they don't. They remember everything post 9/11. So like they remember like I'm pretty sure
you don't develop actual substantial memory until you're 5 years old.
I do remember a good bit before I was 5, but not like specific words and stuff.
For how your brain physically develops, it's not your memory. Like I'm just telling you right now.
I do remember it. Like I do remember stuff before I was like I can tell you it was.
But it's not the same way. Like you remember what you did to like yesterday. It's not the same. It's literally how your brain develops. You physically
somehow I remember it because like I remember specific things. I remember like going into like areas and stuff, and like I remember like there's still like whenever I went back to Savannah like to go and look at stuff, like there's stuff I went into, I was like, yeah, I remembered this because this is what happened at this area and like stuff. Like I don't remember like conversations and stuff. But
yeah, no, your brain, there's a lot of times where people think they do, and it's because when you're told recollections of it, your brain goes, oh yeah, that did happen, and it inserts it as a memory that you didn't actually have, but you think you had.
Well, that's the thing. My parents didn't tell me half the stuff that I remember. Like, I swear to God, like I remember
someone definitely did, and they probably, honest to God, forgot they told you.
No, like I promise you, like they didn't tell. Like I remember this stuff, like. I swear, because like I'll be telling my parents like this thing that I remember, and they're like, "How do you know this? Like you were like 4 or 3. Like how do you remember this shit?" I was like, "I don't know. That's one thing I remember." No, I can't. Of course, I can't remember anything when I was like 1 year old. Like when I was 1, like because like you know it's the first year. Like I don't like, but I remember stuff whenever I was like 3, 4, or 5, maybe even 2, maybe. Like somehow I remember some of these things, and it's not like a huge memory vault. Like I don't remember like every little thing from when I was young. I just remember like certain things and like the like aesthetic as well. And I remember a lot of stuff from where I used to live whenever I was that young. And like areas and stuff like that. Like I still remember, funny enough, I still remember navigation and like routes from where I used to live in, like whenever I was that young and stuff like that. Like I don't know how, but I do. I remember.
No, I know what you're talking about, because I like, as someone that literally similarly has the same type of thing. It's just like, but at the same time, I guess just from what I have studied about the brain, it physically doesn't develop like that kind of memory at that age. So it's like, eh.
Yeah.
It's weird. The brain is literally so complicated. It's like really weird, because like I remember for the longest time, like I legitimately was like, oh, I physically just remembered these things at that young age, and like a lot of memories I have, like quote unquote memories I even have from that, are like technically wrong. But it's because it's like at some point I must have heard it, like someone describing a specific memory of it, which at that age, that my brain was like slotted it as like a memory, and like it was probably told incorrectly, but it's like I will never not remember it that way. And when I think of it, it's like, oh, I was there, I remember all this shit about it being there. But it's like, it's weird. It's, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like, which also, like when I was like asking about it, people were like, well, no, that happened instead of that. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? Like I can literally see it. And it's like, because your brain's just like crazy.
Yeah.
It's able to literally just materialize it. And it's like crazy. It's like, so it's like, it's fascinating, honestly. The brain's like crazy,
Man. Like I remember like I remember certain things from like it was so weird, because I remember the like, I mean, of course, like each like decade has like its own sort of like, you know, what would you call it, aesthetic, but like I remember living where like in this town, like, and it had,
okay, it's saying like around 4, so 4 isn't unreasonable. Okay, I thought it was 5, but 4. Okay,
so like it had the aesthetic of like the town had not like updated for the new decade, or wasn't like it seemed like everything was still like held back in a certain time. So like, and I'm pretty sure it was early 90s. Like didn't like I even go back there now, and the fucking bus seats are like still the same shit. Like, like it's literally like they did not update anything, and there's still, the buildings are there from when I remember. I went back to my old house and like looked at it, and I was like, oh shit, like yeah, that's still like the same. Literally like hasn't, literally the fence is like different, but it's like painted, but it's still the same. The little flowering pot, like the flower holder outside the little rail out there is still there. And like I can still remember like going through the hallways and like turning like right and looking, and that's where the TV was, and then looking left, and that's where like the tables and stuff was, and going down the hall, and then the kitchen was right there. Like I remember that stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember like going to daycare when I was like, it wasn't like daycare, well I guess yeah, it was daycare, but they had like show and tell, and like, but it wasn't like in this the classroom was different, so it had like this sort of like arena looking thing, or like a in the round type of deal, if that makes it. Do you know what like in the round is?
Just in general, the phrase in the round,
or like an area that's like in the round, or like a performance stage that's in the round.
I think so.
I mean, it's nothing like crazy. It literally, all it means is like the performer's literally in the middle, and the audience is all the way around that person. Literally, like you're in the middle of this giant say it's like a stadium. It's the equivalent of like a college stadium. The field's in the middle and everybody's around it, except it's in this area, and you're the person sitting in the middle or standing in the middle, and it's in the round. So there's people can sit around in these seats around this one person or this group of people, depending on what you. That's what it means. Like in the round, everybody's around you. So if you turn around, you're going to see more people behind you. So I remember like going to daycare, and this thing was in the round. So they had these seats that would stagger. They were like carpeted, so they weren't actual seats. They were like stadium seats, but they were carpeted in this room. And you would go down to the bottom of it, because it'd be like a cone. It goes straight to the middle. And you would go down to the bottom and just have show and tell or whatever down there. And I remember that like completely. Like that one is vivid. Like I remember that. And then man, like there's just a lot of stuff I remember. And there's some stuff like people have told me, but like it was stuff but that was stuff towards like the end of before we left. Like they never really told me anything before, like way before we left. It was like right before we left to live in our new town. That a lot of people would tell me that. But like before that, when we were all just like nobody has told me anything. So, man, shit, I feel like I was going on a tangent. God damn it.
Fine.
Man, so yeah.
Memories and shit.
Okay, so here's a new thing. We should make a poll for this on the Discord, or just in general. What should the new, not Gen Alpha, but the next generation, what should they be called?
I mean, a poll would mean we would have to come up with things and they would vote on it.
Or like a write-in. We could do a
Just
write-in.
an open-ended question, like what would you call them?
Yeah, we can make an other category. I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
Or we should do one where it's like, okay, instead of Gen Alpha, what should we call Gen Alpha instead of Gen Alpha?
Gen Alpha.
Yeah, and just see.
They just reset the alphabet. Just AA. Or just Gen A.
Double A.
Well, that always confused me. Like, I think the first time they used a letter was Gen X.
Yeah.
Why they started at X? Yeah, asking the real questions.
Well, millennials are supposed to be Gen Y, and then, but they.
I think there is. Is there a Gen Y or is
it's millennial? Millennials are also called Gen Y. That's their.
Oh, they are.
If millennials are like
Gen Y or Gen.
Yeah, millennials is like the nickname, but the real name is Gen Y.
The real name.
Like baby boomer. I'm pretty sure baby boomers are called something a little bit different than that. Or
I think they all have technical names. Like I've seen it before. Like beyond like X, Y, Z. Like they all have like actual official names. Those are just like the short.
Actually, no. Baby boomers are called. They're literally called baby boomers. Like that's literally their name. Like, I guess that makes sense. Considering like.
Well, because it was the baby boom.
Yeah. So, but I guess the reason they said.
I hate that when you Google like that generation, the first thing that pops up under people also ask is, do millennials say okay boomer?
It's like, bro, I'm not even a part of that group.
So funny.
Like,
oh well, yeah, because it's like it's Well, because when it got popular, people are like, "Oh, the millennials," but it was actually in part like it was like half millennials and half Gen Z, just being like, "Haha, okay, boomer." If anything, I think more Gen Z said it than millennials actually. But it was around the time that everyone was hating on millennials for existing. It was before they hopped on the wait, we can make fun of Gen Z.
Yeah.
They were making fun of Gen.
See, we should just give up. See, because like millennials are, well, not millennials. I'd say Gen X also is called the MTV generation. Like that's a cool name. That's a fucking cool name.
MTV. That's cool.
That's a cool name. Like, see, Gen Alpha should get the Cocomelon generation. That should be their name. The Cocomelon generation. Do you know what Cocomelon is?
Cocomelon?
Yeah.
Wait, let me look at it. Sorry. I'm like honestly doing like
it's
five
this,
different things.
It's this like I'm pretty sure it's like this YouTube kids networking. It's the equivalent of like PBS Children, but like it's YouTube.
Oh, then yeah, no, because the first thing I looked up was like, I guess it was a challenge on the internet where people would do something with watermelon and Coca-Cola. So that's not it.
No. Cocomelon is this like. The only reason I know is because I have like family members that have like kids with iPads and stuff, and like they always turn on Cocomelon, and they'll be sitting there with their grubby hands tapping on this iPad watching Cocomelon. I'm like, what the fuck?
Cocomelon. It's a oh god.
Yeah, we just call them the Cocomelon generation.
It's apparently a musical artist that just makes all those videos for the children.
Mm-hmm.
Oh god.
So they do like numbers and letters and like
all the basic alphabet, like all the children.
It's Sesame Street, but like less of a budget. So, yeah, we'll just call them the Cocomelon generation. I'm down with that. All in favor.
Just call them iPad kids.
The iPad kids. That's a good, the iPad kids.
I will say, like, that is honestly like one of the biggest differences between I would say like the tail end of Gen Z are probably like they were the beginning of iPad kids, but the real iPad kids is I guess what you call like Gen Alpha. It's like because like that's one of the biggest things I remember seeing when like I was like becoming like teenage years. It's like going to restaurants and just seeing like instead of like parents just handling their children, they just shove a phone or an iPad and they just like, I don't want to deal with my child. And I'm like,
that shit is annoying.
It was the biggest like culture shock, and because I was like, holy shit! Like
I mean, I look at my phone sometimes, but that's if I have to like answer an email or something.
Different ballpark.
Yeah.
And of course, they have like the volume maxed out. Like they don't care. It's just the biggest like, wow.
Yeah,
like,
it's culture shock.
Yeah, it's like because it's like I could never imagine like at that age, like you just sucked it up and you behaved. Like it was a huge thing. Like if you're out,
like if you get your ass whooped.
Like
if you made a scene,
you did not scream and throw a temper tantrum in the middle of the restaurant. No, like you just sat down, you ate your food, and then you left. Like you didn't scream. You behaved. God, I sound like a fucking boomer now, but nowadays it's like kid screams, they get thrown technology their way just to distract them so they don't have to deal with it. And like, it's crazy.
See, that's like the thing. The thing is, I'm wondering how they're gonna react when they're older, because that's gonna be a weird thing.
That's a thing.
I mean, I don't care. Like, they can act whatever the fuck they want to act. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Oh, that's terrible." They're gonna it's gonna be funny to see.
I'm never gonna tell someone how to parent their child, but I'm just saying, like, just from like my knowledge of just how maturity works in general. because like I've worked with kids enough to like see it firsthand and like a little bit. It's just the sense of like when a child doesn't have any sense of responsibility even at a young age, they just like they're just gonna grow up without any sense of like, oh, I can't just do that. Like there's actual consequences to my actions, and like if you get handed everything just because you're a pain in the ass, and then all of a sudden that stops working, like half the time they literally physically don't know what to do with themselves.
Yeah, literally.
Like, when you postpone that significantly later than like, than other children in like past generations, it's like it's more of a fear of like, oh God, how far is it gonna go?
I know how I would handle it, but like it's not gonna be perfect. Like I know it's not gonna be perfect, but like
not a perfect process.
But the thing is, I don't plan on it soon. Shit. Like
Yeah, fair.
not planning on it soon, so oh Gabe, what's up?
What's up?
Oh my God. How was the wedding?
Oh, it's still going on.
You're cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think I have the best signal. I don't know if y'all heard that.
Yeah, I got what you're saying, but yeah, it's cutting in and out a little bit.
Yeah. So how was it?
It was good. Yeah. Well, it's still going on.
How long are you gonna stay?
I'd say 30 minutes.
Oh shit.
That's all right with you.
Wait, are you saying 30 minutes at the? Are you saying 30 minutes at the wedding, or are you saying 30 minutes on?
No. On here.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I think Mia's having to do something, so she's gonna be. I'm not too sure if she's gonna be on or not, but I'll ask. But how was the festivity? What happened? What happened?
Some friends from church, their daughter got married, so they invited us to the wedding. So far, it's pretty lit.
Nice, nice.
And it's just your typical Mexican wedding. You know.
Nice.
I don't know if y'all can hear me.
It kind of cuts in and out a little bit.
No, I don't know.
You sound like if you scratched the disc of a CD and threw it in a CD-ROM and it tried to read it, it just keeps going when it plays.
Oh, like a CD for scratch on it.
Mm-hmm. Kind of sounds like that. It even does it when you laugh.
DJ scratches.
Yeah, pretty much.
Wait, so what have y'all been talking about? What's going on?
We talked about
Random shit.
a bunch of okay, so we started off with
Wait.
what? You good? Well, he cut out. I guess I don't. If you can hear me, Gabe. Okay, so we started out with what was it? The pandemic, and then we went to high schools and pep rallies and like fun shit that we did in high school, like Spirit Week and that shit. And then we went to what was the next thing we went to, Tori?
I don't remember. It It's been 3 hours. I'll be honest. There's a lot.
We talked about fucking social media and like YouTube and Hype House and all. Oh yeah, and the stuff from. We talked about generations, like generation naming and like what they were known, like why were they named that and what were they known for, type shit. And
like boomers, millennials, Gen Z type stuff.
Yeah, did you know the new generation?
Wait, what generation are we?
Z.
Yeah.
I always thought we were in like that one. It's like we were like born in between. So it's
no, we're not cuspers. We're almost cuspers, but we're not cuspers.
That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, it feels like that too. I think
we're not Gen Z.
But it's because a lot of people in our age, we were raised like the millennial generation,
like
so it comes
the black sheep.
Yeah, well, it's because we were raised between a time when technology was growing to a point, and but we still grew up at the times of like we still grew up like we were before the technology boom. So we're not we didn't grow up with like the iPod. I mean, we kind of did, but like we didn't. That wasn't something.
We still grew up before it was like literally created.
Yeah, we grew up before it was like a big thing. So like we kind of like we grew up going outside and playing and shit, when now this new generation is just growing up on iPad. Yeah, we grew up touching grass. This new generation is touching iPads. Like,
dude, we grew up drinking hose water, man.
I did too.
Drank hose water as a kid.
See, I think that's what protected everybody.
I was like the best water in the world. Hose water. That's like serum to everything.
Dude, that was what protected us over the past few months, was that hose water. If you didn't drink from the hose or eat mud pies, you were not safe.
You ate mud pies?
No. I'm just saying there's people that ate mud pies. I didn't eat mud pies. I knew a lot of people who did that shit. They'd eat mud. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? No, but
are those the same people that pour milk first, then cereal?
No, they just didn't eat either. They ate the bowl.
Jesus.
They just ate the bowl. Nah, but yeah, hose water people. Like, I'm pretty sure if I went to go ask some of these kids, like recent, like if they've ever had like hose water, they'd be like, "What the fuck is a hose?" Like,
no, like have you seen the stuff like legitimately where they, like, you know how like when you put your like hand like to your side of your face, like with your pinky and your thumb out, and the other fingers tucked in to like signify a telephone.
Mm-hmm.
That like actual like toddlers like nowadays, like if you do that hand signal, they legitimately don't know what it means because now they just put a flat hand to their face and call that a phone because they only know what smartphones are. They don't know what like actual flip phones are.
They don't know what a rotary phone is.
They don't know. A bunch of kids nowadays have never used a rotary phone. So like if they only had a rotary phone, they would know how to dial.
Yeah.
Like legitimately.
They just put a palm to their face.
Yeah, they would.
Just imagine if we introduce them to VHS.
Oh Jesus, they don't know. They'd be like, "What is this Stone Age shit?"
VHS, and then there's the one that lined up manually after you use it.
Yeah, with a pencil. No. You take a pencil and poke it through the hole.
Laser disc.
No, they won't know what the fuck that is. They have no clue who that is. Like, they'd be like, "Who the fuck is a laser disc?" Like, they don't know what that is. I'm pretty sure most of our generation. Yeah, is a new artist? Oh, was he featured with Post Malone? Like, who was that? Like,
Dude, I
Most
was
of our generation doesn't know what that is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, people like don't know like a lot of the music artists that were big in the early 2000s, and I'm like,
Like-
Like, they don't know who Usher is. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Really?
No,
Yes.
do you remember the Ozzy?
Oh, yeah, the
The
Ozzy
Osbourne.
tweet. The Ozzy
Post Malone
Osbourne.
thing?
Yeah. This person.
It's like-
I'm so glad Post
Like, yeah.
Malone.
Post Malone, bringing out small art, just like Ozzy out more.
And the dude commented back with this guy didn't bite the head off a bat for this shit.
God, I remember that.
Yeah, that shit was. I remember, oh my god, that shit was hilarious when you read me that tweet. Oh my god, man.
It's funny because like I never feel more like my mom when because there'll be times like my mom, like my stepdad will be talking, they'll like be watching a movie and they mention like an actor, and stuff that like was really popular when they were like our age, and I'll just sit there staring at them like who, and it's like I now fully understand how that feels, because like I'll be talking about like music artists or like an actor or just someone that was significant when like we were younger, and like actual like teenagers nowadays are like, who the hell is that? And I'm like, I'm not even that much older than you.
Like, bro, what the fuck?
What do you mean?
No, the crazy thing, and I can see how
Like,
you could go most of your
understand.
life without it,
I
but
basically
like,
understand why, but it's like it's still crazy that I'm like, especially like if it's like a movie that was like iconic for our age group.
yeah, well, like,
And it's like, and they don't know it exists, and I'm like, what do you mean?
yeah, well, it's like the thing that a lot of people got angry about a while back was when Billie Eilish didn't know who Eddie Van Halen was, or what Van Halen was.
Oh, I mean, like that happens though.
Yeah, and so many people
That
were like,
happens all
"What
the
the fuck? She doesn't know what Eddie Van Halen? Oh my god! Like that's." And I'm like, "Dude, she. What do you mean? She wasn't even
How
alive
old
when
is
Eddie. She's literally she's our age. Like,
I was gonna say, like, I know she's young.
yeah, like,
Oh fuck, I'm older than her.
yeah.
Damn.
It's not by that much though. It's like a year,
well,
maybe.
she was born December 2001.
Yeah, that's like a year.
Wait, 2001, was that still, or was she born around like the same time Roly Poly Oly?
Yeah, dude, I remember that show.
That was a good ass show, man. Like that was like my show when I was like 3 years old.
I didn't
I
watch
remember
those
when
shows. I just kind of skipped all the baby shows because my older brothers legitimately didn't want to watch them, so I just never watched them. I literally
Man.
went from like dead ass, which is the funniest thing. Like I legitimately did not watch any like toddler shows. I literally skipped right to the like young adult shit,
Yeah,
and it's funny because like I've seen like all of the, well, okay, not young adults. Like I've seen a lot of like the like young children, but like not babyish cartoons. But I haven't seen like any of the actual like toddler shows. And if I have, I've only seen like tiny bits and pieces. Only from the times I was specifically at my grandparents' house. Like my one set of grandparents' house. And that was only because my other cousins were there. And we were all the same age group. So like that was the only time ever I watched like that age group shows, literally ever.
yeah.
Because like any other time I was like watching like cartoon characters beating the shit out of each other at the age of 5, and I was like, yeah. And
See,
everyone else
we
was
we also grew up on
and I'm like, who is that?
we also grew up on like SpongeBob and like all that other shit too. Like
I wasn't allowed to watch SpongeBob, so if I did watch it, it was in secret.
I watched that and Ren and Stimpy.
Oh
Yeah, Ren and Stimpy. I love that show. Yep.
Yeah, that
Rugrats.
was a good ass show.
Rugrats too.
No, what is it?
Rugrats.
What was
The Thornberries.
what was that puppet one? Like Mr. Meaty?
Oh, yeah.
Thornberry.
Yo, hold on.
I think, yeah, Mr. Meaty.
Yeah, Mr. Meaty. Yo, that show was like a fever dream. That was a straight up fever dream.
Early 2000s.
Yeah. Okay, so chat
we're on something else.
or
They were on
viewers
something else.
or whatever, whoever's watching, if y'all haven't seen it, go type up on YouTube, Mr. Meaty. You will not regret it.
I think they might, because a lot of people be like, "What the fuck?" Nah,
Honestly, like late 90s, early 2000s, some
it's so good.
Shows were great, but they're very questionable.
Oh, I loved them. They're so good. Well, Ren and Stimpy was like, it was borderline. Like I remember Ren and Stimpy being borderline.
Other shows are like they would not be able to go live now. A lot of shows that were played back then would not be approved with today's like rating standards.
Yeah,
because they would be like too raunchy and shit like that.
Yeah,
just like too far in different angles.
I don't know. It's whatever. Right? To me,
I'm not saying like, oh, those shows went too far, but I'm just saying like legitimately with what gets approved nowadays, a lot of those shows wouldn't be able to air.
Did y'all watch Beavis and Butthead?
I don't know.
Ooh.
No.
Oh god, we're really losing.
Isn't that before our time?
Yeah, but I watched like a good bit of Beavis and Butthead sometimes.
I watched a lot of Boomerang.
Yo, Boomerang was like the shit.
Boomerang was the shit.
When Cartoon Network would go out and they'd have like some Adult Swim show that I wasn't a fan of, I just go to Boomerang.
Damn, I don't know why. Every single night at 9 o'clock sharp, it always turned to King of the Hill, and I hated King of the Hill. I liked the other shows, but I didn't like King of the Hill, and it was always King of the Hill first thing. I would go to another channel, watch it for like an hour, because sometimes they would hit you with 2 King of the Hills back to back, and I'm like, no.
Oh yeah, it literally right after it like Cartoon Network would end.
No,
they would show King of the Hill. Yeah.
No, literally every single time. Yeah. So I would literally go to like Nickelodeon or literally anything else. Because my TV didn't have a remote, so I had to manually hit on the side of it to go up and down channels. And Cartoon Network was always channel 33, and Nickelodeon was always channel 34.
Yeah.
So I was like a lazy little shit.
You have to go over to the CRV.
I just go hit up and down.
Yeah. Yeah, I would go. We had a CRV one time. Oh my! Do y'all know what a CRV is?
If I see it, I would. Let me just look it up.
CRV TV. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. Or CRT. My bad. CRT.
CRT TV.
Yeah.
Oh, CRT. Wait.
8D. Wasn't. Sorry for interrupting. But y'all remember Nicktoons?
Yeah, when it had its own
it was
channel.
Like its own separate channel from like Nickelodeon.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that because they would rerun older Nick.
I remember watching a show called Edgar and Ellen.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a lot of good shows.
Do y'all remember Jetix?
JetX, maybe.
Hold on, I'll send y'all this.
Wasn't that didn't that become Disney XD?
Yeah.
Was that?
Oh, then okay, then yeah.
Yeah, it switched from it was.
Yeah, oh, I remember the little guy.
Yeah, so Jetix was like its own little thing. I think it was owned by it was like Fox Kids, and then it got switched over to Jetix,
oh, I missed that little character. No, I remember, like, the animations they did of him. It was so cool.
And then they switched it from that to Disney XD, and then the whole thing was that they were going to switch any live action thing on Disney XD over to the regular Disney Channel, and then Disney XD or
supposed to be like all the animation
and cartoon stuff. Yeah.
Does Disney XD still exist?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's mostly cartoons, I think.
Yeah.
So, but they did have Toon. They did have Toon Disney.
Yeah, I remember that.
Which was previously, it was Toon Disney, then it became, I think how it went was, it was Toon Disney, and then Jetix was on another channel, and then they merged them. And then it became Disney XD. I think that's how it went. So yeah. Which was like, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I remember Jetix though. Jetix was like, they had shows like there was a show called like Yin Yang Yo.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Hold on.
Oh yeah, yeah. I remember that.
He keeps cutting out.
Yeah, it's getting real.
It's getting real bad now.
Yeah,
hold on. I'll send you the
rabbits.
I'll send you the picture.
I was just looking it up. I watched that. Oh god.
Oh god, it's bad. Gabe, stop. No.
Remember that Jackie Chan? And
yeah. Yeah. Is
that Jackie Chan?
No, it's just
it's just bad.
Chan.
It's insane. Jackie Chan.
Jackie Chan.
Cartoon show.
Yeah,
that had. I think it was on.
It was called Jackie Chan Adventures. It was on Jetix.
Yeah.
Basically, it was him and like some sidekicks, and they would go on like he had like a son or something, and then his like the old man, and they would like go on adventures, and so I remember that.
I was always gonna look up like what was on Gen X because like oh, okay, I remember that.
Yeah. What were the other... There were some other Jetix shows that were like...
Sonic X was from Jetix.
Mm-hmm.
Oh! Yeah, there's a lot of shows that started on there that were like people now know it from another platform, but like it started on Jetix. Like, for example, American Dragon.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Was originally from there.
Mm-hmm. Kid vs. Cat was on there.
Lazy Town was on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they had a Power Rangers one on there. I remember that. Super Robot Monkey Team Hyper Force Go. That's a hell of a name, but the animation looks really familiar.
Yeah, what were the other... Oh, they had all the Power Ranger shows on there. I remember that because it was owned by Saban.
There's a lot of Power Rangers, yeah.
It was owned by Saban.
Yeah, that's Sega, I'm pretty sure.
It's Saban.
Is it Saban? Because I know... Because Sonic also had their shit on here too.
Yeah, Saban owns Power Rangers, and they own, I think, Transformers.
What is this show? This looks super familiar. What is this show? It's called Chaotic.
Oh, yo.
What was that? It looks so familiar. Like, I know, like, I recognize the character and everything. I don't know what that is, though. I mean, to be fair, all these shows came out in 2006, so that's probably why I'm like, I might not remember all of them.
God, I remember a good amount of these.
No, I remember a good amount of them, but like not all of them.
I remember for some reason G.I. Joe would play on there too. And they had a lot of the Spider-Man animated series stuff on there too.
It was in general, it was very action.
Yeah.
There was a lot of action oriented. It wasn't a lot of So remember that was the big distinction between like, in general, like how Disney XD started and how obviously like Jetix started, was like it was cartoon, but it was like action based cartoon. It wasn't like the stereotypical like, oh, it's gonna be like Dora. Like it was very much, you know, like, you know, like you could watch it and be like, yo, this is cool.
Yeah. God, they had a lot of anime stuff on there too.
They did.
American Dragon Jake Long. I remember that show.
Yeah.
Because they had like crossovers. Oh, Toonami. Yo, Toonami. That was on a Cartoon Network. That was every Saturday. They still have it. It got canceled for a little bit.
I think it recently shut down, from what I understand. Like Toonami just somewhat recently is like, I think got bought. I think it's a different company now. So I remember hearing that.
So what happened was,
it's a part of Adult Swim now, I think.
Oh, it's been a part of Adult Swim. It was just or it's been a part of the Cartoon Network family or whatever. But
when it got bought,
what happened was they shared a time thing with Adult Swim. And then what happened was Adult Swim just decided to buy them out, and because it got canceled in like 2008 or 9, I think. And then what happened was Adult Swim
relaunched in 2012. That's what it was.
Yeah, Adult Swim relaunched it, and it came back like every Saturday. But it's so cool because every I think year or few years, they update Tom, the robot. Mm-hmm. That always does Toonami, and so they have like different versions of them. So there's like Tom 1, Tom 2, Tom 3.5, Tom 5 and 6, and so on, you know. I'm not sure, like, I think like, yeah, I remember something about Toonami Jetstream. It's like a streaming service or something, but then I think it just relaunched into Crunchyroll.
Toonami itself is separate from it.
What?
From like Crunchyroll and stuff. It was the closest it got to actually merging with another streaming services with Verve, which Verve in itself is just like, it was a platform that like one person could just go to Verve and be able to watch from multiple services. Because like Verve used to have Crunchyroll, Funimation, and all that stuff all on its single platform, so you only had to like open one app and have the access to all their free content at once, which was like super nice. And they still have some of it because they also had like Rooster Teeth. They also had like other independent people that weren't like big corporate ones all in it all at once. And that they still do. They just they lost a couple of the platforms that were originally on it because like some of those platforms got bought by larger companies, and the larger companies were like, oh, giving away our content for free? Nah. So they pulled them out of like their agreements with like Verve and shit, which is why like Funimation's like only it's like exclusive shit now.
Yeah.
Because it got bought by someone. I don't keep track of who bought what anymore. It's like, it's half the time it changes.
I just remember a lot of the time
bought out by someone else.
I remember a lot of the time like Star Wars: The Clone Wars would play on Toonami.
Oh, that's funny. I always forget what played where.
Well, because
like the like really, really iconic stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
Because like I know stuff of like Star Wars stuff, there's quite a few shows that like I couldn't tell you what the original platform, like TV program they played on was, but they were always replayed on multiple. So I know like the Star Wars series, the Batman series, like Spider-Man series, Power Rangers, like Mutant Ninja Turtles, like a lot of those. They may have originated on like different ones, but they were always like replayed on several different ones. So I'm like, I wouldn't for the life of me be able to be like, oh yeah, that was a blank and blank show because they honestly played on those.
Damn.
What?
Nothing. It's just all these memories of just everything coming back. I'm like, oh shit. Well.
Yeah.
Well, damn. You want to go ahead and call it?
Yeah, probably. We've been at it for 3.5.
Nice. It's been fun. It's been something.
A long one.
It's been a long one. Okay.
Oh, I think it's the longest one we've had.
Oh my god, insect. Oh shit. What's up? God damn it. I didn't realize it. Yeah, we were just going deep into conversation. Oh shit.
We were deep in like looking at different tabs and all this stuff.
My bad, insect. How are things going before we head out? How's it going? How you doing? Still mad that my dog just sneakily stole my croissant. Oh, I'm sorry about that. Your croissant.
It's all good.
Jimmy's mom. Croissant. I wish I was here early, but I had to do stuff. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's all good. It happened.
It's all good. What's good is that this will be on YouTube along with the 3 other episodes that I need to get up there. So,
it's all
yeah.
Good. We're all a little bit busy, a little behind.
Well, it's not. It wasn't because I wasn't. I'm just having to render all this out. So, and when you got 2-hour streams that you're rendering out,
it takes a while.
It takes a while, yeah. But I just got to have some time to be able to like hit render and then just go and like do something productive.
Yeah, because a lot of times, like, if it gets interrupted, sometimes it just like shits the bed. And it's like, all right, time to redo it.
Yeah. So. Oh, we had Gabe in here for a little bit. Inside. He just got back from a wedding.
I think he was still actively at the wedding.
Oh yeah. He was actively at it. I think he went outside to like.
Yeah, he just stepped out.
Yeah, to join, and yeah, so he was getting lit, as the kids say.
Yeah, and it was just also in part like he just had bad reception, so it was just difficult for him to stay on, and he eventually got lagged out.
Yeah, so yeah, but I think we're gonna go ahead and call it. But yeah. Oh nice, I just imagine him lying, saying, "I'm taking a smoke break."
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna go out to go to the bathroom, just like stands outside talking on a Discord call for like a half an hour.
Jeez.
Totally not suspicious.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna call it. We're gonna end it here. I know Gabe can't be here to do the outro. I tried to get him to record it before he left, but I guess this time we're gonna have to do it without him. But go follow us on any social media. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, if it has a Couch Corp name. It's probably us. Go follow us on YouTube. We put all the VODs of these on YouTube for anybody to watch. So if you want to go back and watch a past episode, go on there and watch it. You can. Also, join our Discord. It's growing. It's thriving. We always talk to everybody on Discord. So do go on there and join up and, hang out with us, because we do talk on there. We do send notifications out to all social media, but if you join the Discord, you'll get it first before anything else. So if you join the Discord, you'll see things prior to everyone else on any other social media. So yeah, if you want to give us feedback or anything else, go to our Discord and leave us a message, feedback, comment, anything. We love to hear it. Let us know what's up. Oh yeah, and our Patreon. If you want to go join our Patreon, please do. Any tier. If you do join our Patreon, you get a shout out at the beginning of every episode, and yeah, you get a written shout out as well. We'll probably start doing voice shout outs towards the end, just because if it starts to get long, we don't want to drag out the episode at the beginning. But we'll leave up a card for any patrons that do decide to join. So yeah, do go join our Patreon if you can. Top tier gets a free drawing drawn by us in our own art style. Within reason. Do not recommend us stuff that could be seen as something...
Common sense factor, don't... Yeah,
if you think it's going to be risque...
COS stuff, just avoid.
Yeah, no NSFW. Is that NF?
Yeah, NSFW.
Yeah, NSF. No, keep it reasonable. Thank you, Insect, for the Discord link. Go join if you can, please. So, yeah. Other than that, we'll see y'all next Saturday at 9 p.m. We might change the time depending, but be there at 9 p.m. We'll send out a notification if something changes. But be there Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time, and if you're anywhere else, I'm not going to say it because it's Gabe's line, but, you know.
We cannot say the sacred lines.
Yeah, we cannot defile the sacred lines of
We'll just
Gabriel.
say Google's your best friend.
Yes. So, do join us then, and we'll catch you then on Twitch. Stay safe, and y'all have a good one.
Yep, stay safe.
Bye, guys.